Nap.
Yeah.
No, don't do anything. Just stay here.
Okay.
Just stay here. You guys are good to go. You clicked on the link. Everybody's solid. All right. I think we're going live now. We are. So give it just a minute here as the viewers are popping in. Oh, I'm seeing everyone starting to pop in here. It'll take just a couple minutes. We'll give everybody like 2 minutes or so. 3 minutes. Usually it takes like 5 minutes, I feel like, before we get in too deep here. All right. So for everybody, well, we'll give it like another minute. We'll give it like what's fashionably late? How much time is it? Do you guys know?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Oh, I thought it was like 20 minutes or something like
We
that.
need like some music going.
Some music. Yeah, I don't have any music in the background here. Sorry. All right. Well, we'll just get kicked off here. So everybody who's joining and watching this either live or 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 weeks from now, thank you for joining. Yeah, this is awesome. We're literally making history, which I think is super rad. This is the first, to my knowledge, all women's podcast, Snowbike podcast interview. I have never seen another one, so I'm super pumped about it. We've been doing a lot of world's first here at Snowbike Nation over the last 6-7 years. We just got done with the world's first all women's snowbike event with Babes in the Dirt. That was really fun. Oh my gosh, it was a blast. And so we just wrapped up with that. Carrie was at that one. And it's International Women's Day is the 8th, right? Is it the 8th? Am I right? Okay. So it's just Women's Month, right? Right now. It's like the whole month. Celebrate women. I mean, I'm always celebrating women, right? I got 3 daughters. I'm all about celebrating the ladies. So that's another really cool thing is that, yeah, it's this Women's Month. So Tess had reached out to me a while ago about, asking if we could do something like this, which I've been wanting to do a women's podcast now for a while. And I've talked to, I know several of you at different points about doing these interviews. So I'm really pumped about having everybody at once on here. And I think what's going to come of this is there's going to be a lot of really good information out there for women riders that are getting into snowbiking or that want to get into it or that are already into, snowbiking, that are gals. So another cool thing is we're going to be doing a giveaway. So if you're watching this live, we've got a ton of cool stuff here. I've got it pulled up. Thanks to Timbersled, thanks to 509, Penco, Summit Snowbikes. And yeah, we've got a lot of just cool stuff that we're going to be giving away. So if you're watching right now, sorry, if you're watching this later, you don't get to enter into the giveaway. But if you're watching now, go to my website, snowbikenation.com. Put in your information there, name, email, phone number, and then we're going to be drawing from the people who put in all their information. It's the easiest way for us to track it. And we're going to be doing a giveaway about halfway through, then like 3/4, and then we're going to do the bigger giveaway at the end. So if you're watching live, stay tuned. We will be doing the giveaway. And yeah, I'm pumped. So everybody who's joining, please leave a comment. Let us know your name, let us know where you're from and what kind of snowbike you ride, or if you don't ride snowbikes, if you want to ride snowbikes. And then we'll have some good stuff to talk about. Also, if you have questions, try and save them for a little bit. Don't start posting questions right away. But if you do have questions, go ahead and you can start posting them here in a little bit, and we'll be able to go through those questions. Okay, there we go. I'm just making sure it's all working. We'll go through those questions and answer them as we go. So we got Monica from Ventura. So make sure as well that, like I said, post either if you have a snow bike, what your snow bike is, or if you don't have a snow bike, talk about just let us know, like, yep, I want to start snow biking. And if you're already a dirt biker, post what your dirt bike is that you ride. So thank you, whoever said I'm awesome. It didn't show up, but thank you. I appreciate that. I just love snow biking, and my goal at Snowbike Nation from the beginning has been to just support snow biking, help grow the sport, get as many people involved as possible. And like, that's my mission. And I mean, I'm super passionate about it. And of course I love snow biking. So it works out well. I feel like I'm saying a lot too. Freaking hate when I do that. So we got Kaylin Fairfield from Idaho. Monica does not have a snow bike yet. Hope to hop on one soon. Well, Monica, I know a place where you can go snow biking. Beta X Trainer. I freaking love the Beta X Trainer. That's a badass bike. Like, I don't know if you guys have ridden that, but it's a really great 300. You ride a 300 quite a bit, Vic, don't you, Victoria?
Yeah, I ride a KTM 300, but my husband just got on the Beta team, so he's hyping up me getting a Beta RR. We'll just keep it in the family.
Just keep it in the
We'll
family.
see.
Heck yeah. No, they're sweet bikes. I like they deliver power well, those X Trainers. I tell anyone that's getting into dirt biking, single track enduro stuff, check out the X Trainer. Probably wouldn't be a great snow bike, a little bit lacking on the power side, but 300s are fun for everybody that's watching this that has questions about 300 two-strokes as a snow bike. I mean, I have 5 of them, so that tells you something. And then I have my BRC 500 two-stroke. That's another fun one. So Kaylee, she's got a 450 Timbersled 120. Right on. Rise is from Australia. Heck yeah. You must know them. Is it Rise? Am I saying it right, Tess?
No, it's Reese.
Reese. All right, Reese.
Yeah, they're close enough.
Yeah. Okay, right on. And then we got YouTube folks showing. Cool. So the way I like to kick it off, and for everybody watching, you're about to meet all of is this all the Timbersled women ambassadors? Is this everybody? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Timbersled ambassadors, Timbersled athlete. You're about to meet the crew. So I have known Tess and Christina for quite a while now. I met Carrie a couple years ago at one of the events, and the other 3 ladies I've never met in person, following them on social media. I've seen their posts. Funny story about Vic, actually, which you may or may not know, but Lane Powers is actually how I found out about you. And what's your husband's name again? Is it
Nick? Nick and Vic.
Nick, that's right. Yeah, Nick and Vic. And then and so yeah, that's how I found out about you guys. So that's kind of a funny story, because Lane, going back right when I started Snowbike Nation, him and I have been talking. So anyhow, I'm excited to hear everybody's story. I know for me, I love stories. I love hearing people's stories. How did you get into snow biking? What's your background? As someone who has now been snow biking, this is my 7th season, right? Yeah, 7th season. And, having 3 daughters, being married, like, I mean, I've taught all my girls to ride. None of them ride though. Like, I've taught them all to ride, but they don't ride. And I've always just been like, hey man, let's freaking women power, like girl power, right? Like, let's get ladies out riding. I've taken quite a few girlfriends, wives that have come snow biking with, husbands and boyfriends. And some of them had never been on a snow bike and had never been on a dirt bike, or maybe had ridden, once or twice. So I personally taught some ladies to ride that sometimes it was a little scary, because figuring the whole clutch and shifting and everything out for the first time. There's only been a couple gals that couldn't figure it out, but for the most part, I mean, I've been so impressed with these women that are just like, yeah, I'm game to learn. And I was like, all right, like, we'll do it. And then I also have these moon bikes, which are electric snow bikes, which are pretty small. They're kind of like pit bikes. And I always had those as backup. And if they couldn't do it, they could hop on those. And so I've been really impressed at the gals that have learned to snow bike. And it's awesome watching all you ladies and watching your videos and pictures, just, full sending. I mean, I feel like some of the videos I see, I'm like, yeah, you guys are just freaking full send all the time. And so, from my standpoint, I look at it as like, you just twist the throttle and go, right? Like, I mean, women are very capable of doing that. So tonight we're going to hear from all these ladies and hear their stories. And we'll just get things kicked off. So first of all, thanks again to you ladies for taking time out of your night to come out and share your stories and whatnot. I think what we'll do is I'm just going to start from the top and we'll just go over, we'll hear everybody's story. And then we'll get into snowbiking. So Tess, why don't you go first? You can kick it off. And so real quick question, real quick thing. I got to tell a story about Tess. So I first met Shannon, I don't even know now. It was probably like 2018 when him and I first had a podcast interview. And then I went up to Golden and did a snowbike ride with Shannon, and I hadn't met Tess yet. But, I'd seen Tess's pictures, videos, and I don't think you weren't an ambassador yet, Tess, but you were getting into snowbiking. But then the first time I met Tess was when we went to the Climb Cow Tag event several years ago. And it was so freaking rad because Tess was like, all right, like, what are we doing for food? And she was just like getting everything dialed in. And I feel like I'm the one that does that a lot. I'm like, all right, guys, like, let's organize this. And Tess was just like on top of it, getting food, buying food. It was just awesome. And so anyhow, when I first met Tess, and I was like, damn, you're 5'2", I think, right, Tess?
Yeah. Yep, I certainly am.
5'2". Yeah. I was like, heck yeah, man, just freaking getting after it, And so anyhow, yeah, it was really fun the first time I met Tess and got a ride with her in Idaho. And I think we had somebody's bike broke down. But anyhow, Tess, I'll let you kick it off. Name, where you grew up, and how you got into snowbiking.
Okay, thanks, Kyle. And that was definitely a great memory in Idaho. And I think coming from my career, like what I do, full time, I'm very organized. So every trip now, I'm like, okay, what are we doing for food? Where are we staying? What are we doing? So anyway, but hello, everybody. My name is Tess Mason. I'm located in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. But as you can tell from my accent, probably, I am an Australian. So I grew up in rural central Queensland, Australia, a place called Gladstone. And I moved to Canada in 2015 with my husband, Shannon, who Cole was referring to. I started snowbiking in 2015, but really 2016 is when I actually put in more effort, because when I first started, I'm like, coming from a country where there's barely any snow and things like that. It was a little bit intimidating at the time, but by 2016, I really, really ramped it up.
When you say barely any snow, is there like any snow? Like, is there even a ski hill in Australia?
Yeah, I believe there's about 5 ski hills in southern Australia, but I'm from the north. So I'm from a very tropical state. And so if it started snowing there, something would be wrong, like something with the world. The most southern part of the Great Barrier Reef is, like, to put it into perspective, is where I'm originally from. I dirt bike for many, many years. I've always been a moto girl. I haven't been much into the enduro. Like, I do ride enduro, but I feel more comfortable on the moto track. So I have been riding for dirt bikes for, I don't want to give away my age, but since I was about 15.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, just on the moto
I didn't realize
track.
that.
Yeah, how I got into snowbiking, it was through my husband, Shannon. So we were meant to come over to Canada for 2 years, and he had found a snow bike online. And before we even left Australia, I noticed about 20K missing from our savings. And he had actually...
It's a great story, by the way. If anybody wants to listen to it, listen to the interview I did with Shannon on our podcast. It's pretty epic.
Yeah. And then I thought we'd gotten scammed or something. And no, Shannon had bought a snow bike and a dirt bike from Carl Cycle Sales, actually, in Idaho. And that's when I was first introduced to snow biking. I do ride YZ450F, and I do ride the Bright 3S Pro. Pardon me?
What year was that again?
We moved over to Canada in 2015.
15. And when was the first time you got on a snow bike?
In 2015.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. But at the time I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But by 2016 is when I become pretty passionate about it. So
how did that feel as like being well, actually, we'll get to that question after. I'm gonna save this one for all the ladies. So 2015, first time you snow bike. Yeah, you snow bike before I did. That's rad. And the first snow bike that you ever rode, what was it?
It was a KTM 450. And it actually was with the Yeti kit off Mike. You know Mike, Kyle.
Oh yeah, I know Mike.
In Super BC. That was my first experience. Yeah, on a snow bike in 2015.
So what did you think? Like after riding for the first time, what went through your head?
I kept dropping the bike all day, and I'm like, yeah, this is not for me. Like, I was so exerted, like I was so like lost energy, and I literally just kept dropping the bike all day, and I'm like, oh, it's not for me. But then I thought, you know what, like practice makes perfect, and so I kept at it, and yeah.
Well, were you like enjoying it right away, or were you just like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking hard?
Do you want the truth or do you want the
Yeah, no, the truth for sure. Like, I mean, we all have our.
Yeah, in the beginning, no. Like day one wasn't good, but by day two, I was really thinking about it rather than being afraid of it. You know, it's the same concept, right? Like it's changing gears and you got your brake. It's just the big thing was the feeling. That was the hardest transition for me coming from a dirt bike background. And then, like keeping your foot on the pegs when you stop and start, when you're learning, you don't really think about that, but like a big tip and trick when you're riding a snow bike, like being 5'2", and I know Vic's a shorty as well, like you keep your foot on the pegs, like it really, really helps with, not dropping the bike and that sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then what about, you didn't have any like, because this is another thing I think really helps people that I know, quite a few of you ladies on here had snow experience already. Had you been like snowboarding or skiing or really had any snow experience?
Not really. No. I learned to snowboard in the Canadian Rocky Mountains in Golden, BC. Yeah, okay. Before that, I did see snow. So when we first came over in 2015, we did a road trip through the United States from California up to Canada. And I think the first snow that we seen was in Northern California, and it wasn't that much either. But that was sort of first snow that I had seen. And before like actually really, really getting into snow biking, I did learn to snowboard, worked on a ski resort and that sort of thing. Got it.
Okay. Good to know. All right. Well, thanks, Tess. Appreciate it. So Shelley, you're up next. So Shelley Balls, where are you from? And give us your background here.
Yeah, so I am from Star Valley here. I grew up just south a little bit, 2 hours from here, Evanston, Wyoming, but Wyoming's always been my home. I started out snowmobiling, and I still snowmobile, and so I was kind of familiar with kind of sports on the snow, and I was pretty excited to get to try a snow bike. My first time I was actually out riding a snowmobile, and my husband was racing a snow bike at the time, and so we took it out just in the back.
He was racing, like, you mean like part
of the Rimshaw circuit.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, so he had a snow bike through them, and so we took it out in the backcountry, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a try, and it was definitely a game changer. Like the first time I tried to stop, I was like, whoa, and definitely tipped it downhill. So definitely learned some things right off the bat, but I didn't really get into snow biking until 2020. I was actually pregnant, and I was riding my sled a little bit, and I was like, ooh, like I'm getting pretty tired. Like I'm 5 months pregnant. I'm getting pretty tired. So I was like,
let me steal your snow bike, Gavin. And so that's my husband. So I stole the snow bike. And pretty much from then on, I was like, oh, these things are the ticket. Like they're such a hoot. So
and you were
kinda,
riding snowmobiles though. Like you were doing snowmobiles and
yeah. So I used to race on the Rimshaw circuit and
Mhm.
did that for quite a
By the
while.
way, what is that? Can you explain that real quick so everybody listening knows what that is?
Yeah, so Rimshaw stands for the Rocky Mountain States Snowmobile Association. And so they have races kind of throughout the West. And what essentially it is you get your sled at the bottom, and there's a set of gates that you go through all the way to the top of the hill, and they time you individually. And so it's a pretty big sport around this area. And so I did that for quite a few years. And when I stopped racing, I became a Polaris ambassador, and I was talking to
what year
Mel.
was that?
So that was 2019. So I
Okay, so you
stopped
became
my
a
last year
Polaris
racing.
snowmobile ambassador 2019.
Yep. And
Okay.
after 1 year of being a Polaris ambassador, I was like, oh, like ambassadors or Timbersleds are kind of fun. Like I want to give it a try. And so I talked to Mel at Polaris, and she's like, yeah, if you want to try Timbersled for a year, that's fine. And so I jumped over to Timbersled for a year and was an ambassador for them. And then the following year, I was able to do both, which honestly, like, kind of spoiled, but I love being able to do both of them at the same time.
So since you're a sledder, I don't know if anybody else is, but can you real quick just go through the differences, like coming from a sled, going to a snow bike, and one, like, what is it that you like about each, or maybe dislike about each, or a pro and con, I guess?
Yeah, it's a great question. I honestly don't know why more women don't like or are in the snowbike industry, because it's seriously a hoot. You can go through the trees, you can follow like a group of guys that are like seriously good riders through the trees, like just blitz it, and you're like, oh, who are we waiting on? Oh, the guys are back there. Like I don't know why women are in the snowbike industry more, but it's honestly super easy to ride in the trees compared to sleds. Like it's super fun. You can whiz through the trees super fast compared to like getting on its side and kind of making your way through the trees. One downside, like leaving the parking lot on a snow bike is a little bit trickier. I know it's not as forgiving as leaving a parking lot on a sled, but
Totally.
one other downside is like,
why is that, Shelley? Like why
is it trickier? Well, because of the S kit, I find way more confidence like leaving the parking lot, but it's just how the ski is set up, and just like the balance, and like getting used to turning on like a hard surface, and it's like you can't turn on asphalt, like that's just not going to work. So just learning like those things right off the bat definitely was a game changer. But
got to balance a little more on a snow bike versus a sled on flat ground.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
But yeah, it's there's definitely pros and cons of both of them. And so when I'm on a sled, obviously it's super easy to just grab a handful of throttle and like pull some chutes, but there's some pretty awesome snow bike setups out there nowadays, and you'd be surprised at where these snow bikes will go.
Yes. Everybody, all the people who poo-poo snow bikes that have no idea, like it's so funny. Some of the comments I get, they're like, "Oh, you can't go half the places a sled goes." I'm like, "Have you ever seen a snow bike like ride?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ridden with one?" Because it's the opposite. Like, no, you can freaking tear it up. So what are you riding now? And so how long, I guess, have you been riding snow bikes in total? And yeah, what are you riding?
Yeah, so I started riding, I think my first year was in 2020, and I started out with an Arrow, Timbersled Arrow, and then I switched over after one season on Arrow to a Riot, and I kind of fell in love with the Riot kit. So I've been on a Riot ever since, and so right now I'm riding a Riot 3S Pro, or a premium with a Honda 450.
Honda 450. Okay, cool. What year?
The Honda's a 2022 and the kit is a 2024.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Anything else there, Shelley?
Are we getting to snacks? Vic, should I share my snack? All right. I think one of my favorite snacks while out riding, Welch's makes this little yogurt covered blueberries. They're fake blueberries, but they're so good out on the mountain. Like they're perfect, juicy energy. So
nice. I'm gonna have to add those to my list because I'm all about the snacks.
Definitely.
That's awesome. That's a good one.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do favorite snacks. Yeah, absolutely. No, glad to have you. All right, let's see who's next. Jessika, you're up.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. My name's Jessika Jenson. I grew up in Rigby, Idaho. I currently live in Salt Lake. A little bit of background about me. I was a professional snowboarder. I competed for about 10 years. And after the 2018 Winter Olympics, I retired. And I really wanted to access the backcountry. So I started dipping
real quick, just back up just a little bit. Tell us Olympics. All right. So after you retired, you don't look old enough to retire, but okay, tell us what that means exactly. So what did you do Olympics wise?
So I competed in snowboard slopestyle and big air. So I had the honor and privilege of representing Team USA in the 2014 and 2018 Winter Olympics. That looking back at that, it feels so surreal. Like I'm like, this was crazy. Like I just was living the dream, just following the snow, just snowboarding full time, just trying to progress the sport. I loved every moment of it. But after the 2018 Winter Olympics, my knees are a little bit shot. Like I've had 4 knee scopes in the left knee. So just kind of feeling
all
it.
from snowboarding?
Yep, all from snowboarding. Yeah. But then I was kind of realizing I kind of want to get into the backcountry. Like, I just had a big passion for that. So that's when I started looking into snowmobiles. So I snowmobiled for a year, and for those of you that know, snowmobiling is very technical. Like I wasn't really able to get to the places I wanted to go. It was more so just learning how to ride the machine. But then the year after that, I got introduced to snow bikes. JT Cox, he volunteered us to go on a demo ride, and my husband Rooster, he's like, that kind of sounds lame. And
was he a snowboarder, or I mean a snowmobiler too?
No, he's a diehard dirt biker and he hates the snow. Okay. But now that's completely different. I can't get him off the snow. But I finally got him to do the demo day with me, and it was like the perfect conditions. You couldn't ask for anything more perfect. Like we had a heyday. And at the end of the ride, we're like, "Okay, give us a quote. We want one. Like, sign us up. You guys were sold. We're all in."
What year was that?
So that would have been, I think, 2019, because I got my own snow bike in 2020. So I've been doing this for 4 years now. But yeah, we're so sold on them. We have so much fun, and I love seeing Rooster out on the snow because I'm a snow person. I love the snow. He would just follow the dirt all year round, like go to St. George, but now he's right there with me. He wants to be on the snow, so we love it. But yeah, it's so much.
You guys ride a lot. You guys ride a lot together. That's cool. I mean, I see you guys posting, pictures and videos, and I think that's one of the cool things. And Shelley mentioned this, is being able to follow around, versus like snowmobiling. Not only, big heavy machine, but it takes a long time to get really good on a snowmobile. And snowbiking is just very different. Like, there's different levels of being good, but out of the gate, pretty aggressive, how to ride dirt bikes. Like you can kind of go anywhere, like after a day or two. So I mean, it is a great like couples activity, to do. So
yeah, we enjoy it so much.
That's awesome. So do you guys ride, like when you guys go out riding, then is it mainly like you two riding and then with other friends and stuff?
Yeah, it's always me and him and whatever friends want to tag along. But that's the cool thing with the snow bikes is, like, yes, you want to have more people in case for safety reasons. But, me and him can go out there and have a good time. If I get stuck, us two, we can get each other unstuck anywhere. The sled takes a little bit more effort for sure. They're just a lot bigger and trench harder. But yeah, we go out all the time.
Awesome. And so what, oh, and one other thing, I want to back up after this, and Shelley, tell us when you became an ambassador. But Jessika, what do you ride? And yeah, when did you become a Timbersled ambassador, and how did that work?
So I have a Husqvarna FC450 on a Riot 3 Pro. Absolutely love it.
What years?
So I just got on the 2024 Gen 2 Riot 3 just a couple weeks ago, and I am so impressed with it. I'm like, I should have been on this kit sooner. But it's amazing. It just picks up. It's a little more rowdy, lighter. Absolutely love it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. And so yeah, tell us how you became a Timbersled ambassador.
So it's kind of funny. So I became an ambassador right when I got my setup. I was just so passionate about it. I was like, I really want to get involved in the sport. I love it. I want to grow with it and get more people involved. So I became an ambassador the first year I started riding. Just so passionate about it, and still am.
That's awesome. So you've been an ambassador now. So how long now?
This is my fourth year.
3 years? Fourth season?
I think fourth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. Well, awesome. Well, thanks. Oh, and by the way, ladies, tell us how, let me throw Tess back in here. Tell us how tall you are. So Jessika, how tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Okay. 5'5". All right. So everybody listening, like all you ladies, you're thinking you're too short to ride or whatever. Like, nope, you're about to meet some short gals. So 5'5" for Jessika. Anything else you want to add, Jessika?
No, just thanks for joining in.
Yeah, thanks. And also, and I'm going to have Tess and Shelley do this. I don't know why I forgot. Tell us what your Instagram handle is. So all the ladies, everybody watching right here can go and follow everybody's Instagram. So what's yours?
Jessika Jenson. And it's
Easy,
Jessika with the
enough.
K. Don't forget the K.
Don't forget the K. All right, cool. Shelley, let's go back to you real quick. Tell us how tall you are and then how you became a Timbersled ambassador and your Instagram handle.
Yeah, so I'm 5'8", and I started off as a Polaris ambassador, but Mel at Polaris let me switch over to Timbersled my second year of being an ambassador, and so that's how I kind of switched over right off the bat when I was first starting into riding Timbersleds, kind of like Jessika. So, and I was just like her, I was excited for the opportunity to give it a try. So, and my Instagram handle is sballs17.
Okay, sballs17. So everybody thank you. Everybody that's watching, make sure to enter the giveaway. Go on the website, snowbikenation.com, put your name, email, phone number in there. And then that way I can run a report here while we're live, and I'll be able to do a drawing. We got a ton of cool stuff that Timbersled's giving away. 509, Penco. Am I missing? Summit Snowbikes. There's some cool giveaways. So make sure you go to the website so you guys can enter into that. All right. Thanks, Shelley. Tess, back to you. How tall are you? When did you become a Timbersled ambassador? What year? And Instagram handle?
Hey, I'm 5'2"-ish.
2-ish.
Well, it depends. I became a Timbersled ambassador, I believe it was in 2019. And how I became a Timbersled ambassador was they were advertising for ambassadors. And I thought, you know what? I love the product. I am just going to apply and see what happens. And I was successful to get on the program. And then my Instagram handle is Tess__Mason.
Cool. Tess__Mason. All right. Thanks, Tess. All right. We kind of got switched around there, but Christina, why don't you go next since you're up in the order? So Christina, go ahead.
I thought I was going to go last.
Well, not now.
Right now.
No, now you're there. We can jump to someone else if you want.
I'm really No, it's fine. I'm originally from Western Washington, and then I'm based out of Kalispell now. I don't know how long I've been a Timbersled investor. It's 3 or 4 years, and I've been on snow bikes for 6 years. My
Did you say 6 years?
first snow bike experience was a demo with, yeah.
Okay.
It did not go well. We had record-breaking snow. Brock Bolin put me on a 350 with a 120. It was waist deep, just bottomless powder, and I would go 10 feet and fall over. And I was like, I hate these things. They're stupid. Later.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds like a terrible first experience.
Then it started. Yep. So later in the day, we put me on a 450 with a Aero 137, moved me to a little more of an open area, and then it finally clicked. And I was like, oh, these things aren't stupid anymore. I grew up dirt bike riding, snowmobiling since I was 3. We kept sleds the first year we had a snow bike. I no longer own a sled. My favorite snack is high and hammer gels.
Wait, it's hammer gels and what? You broke up there.
5'7". High chews from Costco because they come in a little package.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Throw them in your handlebar. Yep. The little giant loop one that goes right over your handlebars. Put your phone and your high chews in there.
And so
I'm on a 20.
Yep, go ahead. Sorry, there's a little bit of delay with you now. No, go ahead with your bike.
Oh, I'm 2 bikes. I've got a 17 TE 300 on a 2020 Riot and a 3 SX 450 on a 23 Gen 2 Aero Premium, not Pro. I did ride a Pro last year. This year I swapped Premium.
And how do you like since you got 2 bikes, how are you liking the 300 versus the 450?
I ride the 450 most of the time. On really nice setup days, the 300's fun. It was more, we got a good deal on the kit, and the bike was sitting in the garage for the winter. So kicks and grins, try it out.
Heck yeah.
My husband really likes it and rallies it. So yeah, of 5 snow bikes currently for 2 rides. It's a little out of control out there.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, so your husband rides as well. So yeah, tell us, when did Mike get into riding? Same time as you did?
So yep, we've always done all of our sports together. We're that annoying couple that grew up together. We've known each other since we were 7, and we've been together 20 years. So we've always done everything: dirt bikes, snowmobiles. We always buy match sets of things because then it's a skill level, not a bike level issue.
Yep.
And then he is the accessory manager at Penco now, so he gets to snowbike a lot more than me.
Right on. Well, thanks. Anything else you want to add, Christina? Oh, don't forget your Instagram handle.
Oh, Bea James, Beah. And I go by both Christina and Bea, depends on how long you've known me.
Got it. Yeah, I always wondered. I was like, Bea? I don't know Bea, but okay, that makes sense. And you said you're 5'7".
Yep.
5'7". Cool.
Oh, and I run S kits. S kits for life.
S kits for life. Yes, the S kits are pretty popular amongst the female crowd for sure, and even others. I know, like a lot of guys that like to ride them too. Cool. Anything else you want to add? So guys, make sure, like I said,
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Jump on the website, enter your name, email, phone number so you guys can get in the drawing here. We've got a bunch of cool people on here. It looks like Babes in the Dirt joined. They said they're here for the trail snack suggestions. So we just got done riding with Babes in the Dirt up here in Montana. That was super fun. And then it looks like, so we got Shelley on here. We might have to invite Shelley in too. Shelley, text me if you can jump in, because Shelley's a women snowbiker as well. Ripper. She's out at Penco here. gosh, Elaine's been riding for a long time as well. Also, I don't know if you guys know Nicole, but she said you guys are awesome. So Nicole just said, everybody's awesome. That's great. It looks like this is great. Monica, couples that bike together stay together. So guys, if you have any questions as well, go ahead and post them below. So if you have any questions at all for the ladies, post them down below, and then excuse me, I'll bring them up here as we're going through the interview. Amanda said Shalane got her on her first Timbersled. Heck yeah, that's awesome. I think Shalane's gotten a lot of people on their first Timbersled, men and women alike. So that's great. So next up is Victoria, or Vic. Do you go by Vic or do you go by Victoria?
Either, just not Vicky.
Or?
Call me whatever you want.
Vicky.
Just not Vicky.
All right, just not Vicky. So Victoria, tell us where you're from, how you, background, childhood, and how you got into this.
Buckle up. I'm originally from Florida, North Carolina, moved out to Tahoe, which is where I live now after I graduated high school. And I started dating, excuse me, my now husband, Nick. And it was like our second or third date. We went out snowmobiling. He's a really great snowmobiler, retired, like you, Jessika, professional snowboarder. And so we were out taking snowboarding laps, and he's like, all right, it's your turn, jump on the sled. I dropped in this massive cornice straight into a tree, like locked the brakes right over the bars. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a lot. So snowmobiling, like I gave it a decent shot. And then that next winter, I got on a TTR, started dirt biking. Then the next winter, my husband, Nick, and Lane, who you
what year was that?
Earlier, that was 2017.
Okay, so you didn't start dirt biking until 2017.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I got a dirt bike, and then like that winter, oh, sorry, it's like echoing kind of bad. I don't know if somebody's not muted, but
no worries.
I got on to Nick and Lane got a MotoTrax sponsorship deal, so they had kits, and that first one was on a 350, and I was just terrified that I was either gonna break it, like I wrecked his snowmobile the winter prior, or blow the motor. And I don't know, it came so much more natural than sledding did. And then the next season got onto Timbersled and became an ambassador. So this is my 5th year as a Timbersled ambassador, 7th season snowbiking. I started on that 350 and then got Aero 120 on a 300 two-stroke, a Husky, and now I ride a 2023 Riot 3S, the S model, because I'm 5'2", on a gas 450, and I love it. I did love the two-stroke, and it was fine for my size, but I really love the extra power. I mean, just like last weekend, we had a blizzard.
Yeah, you guys got dumped on. How much snow did you actually end up getting there?
I mean, in our back, it was just like such a short period of time. It was like 3 days. We got like 4 feet. I want to say our backyard is full. So
that's wild.
It was, and that was just like lake level. So up top, it was even deeper. But
how did that go? Like riding, like that's like almost too deep. Like
I'm the only, like, I don't have any other friends. I have one friend, Natalie, but I've only gotten to ride with her once. That's on a snow bike. Everybody else is on snowmobiles, and I'm able to go out with the guys. Like, I can dip in and out of their track once they kind of break trail, and I just let Jesus take the wheel. Like, we make it. But you know who doesn't have to take out their shovel?
Yeah,
they were getting stuck all day, and I'm like, oh, I'll just pull my ski and I'm good.
Yeah,
so
you just watch them.
Yeah. Anyways, favorite place to ride is up here in Tahoe. I've got the opportunity to ride in Alaska, and that's been pretty incredible as well. I got to ride with Shelley and Carrie as well, up in Wyoming, and I don't know, wherever the best snow is, but it really, truly, honestly is about the snacks for me. I love the pow turns, but it's like, what are we eating? So
That's
my
so
lineup
funny.
is, I always have like a hot cider with tea. I do like 1 packet of apple cider and a little bit of like chai tea. And then either Pop-Tarts, Little Debbie's, both. And like some kind of like pocket meat, like I don't
Pocket
know.
meat.
I got my first I got my first deer this year, so I made some good meat sticks
Okay.
out of the venison or like bacon, I don't any meat and Pop-Tarts.
That's awesome. The ladies are all about the snacks, apparently. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, just freaking eating whatever I can eat. Like, you know, just all about getting out there riding. I saw Rooster pop in there. That was awesome. So,
Yeah.
and then you ride with your husband too. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like you guys get out and
So I have a pretty good group of girls, but they all sled. So I'm the only snow biker, unless I've got several, back to what you guys were saying earlier, several girls who have never ridden a dirt bike on the snow bike, no problem. Never like just going for it, because
right
I
on.
feel like it's so much less intimidating riding the snow bike, even though it's really big. But it's like, what are you gonna hit? If you're in an open area, like you're gonna dump it into the snow and like no big deal. You don't really have to worry about whiskey throttling it like you do a dirt bike, because it's just not gonna do that, you know.
Right. So, and then what would you say is like, you know, coming from, I mean, you only rode, how many times did you ride a sled? Basically once, it sounded like.
I've definitely been out on days like on sleds, and it's just, I just could not hang. It's so hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
No,
Shelley
the
was
Snowbike
saying,
is,
I don't know why more girls don't snowbike. It's so, I was literally,
well, they're gonna.
2 days ago, our buddies are like, how are you making it up this stuff? Like, I just don't even understand. This is the steepest, like deepest day. Like, how are you making it? He's like, my wife has been sledding for years and she would never make this kind of day. Like, guys I know, the guys were on their sleds not making it up the same hill that I like. And that's not being like cocky or anything. That's just like how it is. It's like, this is awkward. Sorry.
Yeah. People really underestimate the snow bikes.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that really is the truth here. Well, cool. Anything else you wanted to add, Vic? Oh, your Instagram handle. Don't forget that.
Oh, Vic_Pooch. Not to be confused with my husband, Nick_Pooch.
That's great. Nick and Vic. Go follow them both. Go follow them both. That's awesome.
I will just say, back to the couples that ride together, stay together. It's the ultimate test of your relationship. So if you can't sled with your partner, like they're not the one. Keep looking.
That's it, huh?
Yep.
They're not the one if you can't. Okay, noted. That's good to know. Make sure everybody notes that. If you go out snowbiking and you guys are fighting and stuff, and well, there you go. The true testament of your relationship. Well, awesome. Thank you, Vic. So last but not least, we'll get to Carrie. We kind of jumped around here as people popped in and out. So Carrie Barton, who I just spent 3 days riding with up here at our Babes in the Dirt event.
Yeah.
Super fun. Yeah, it was a blast. Like Carrie and I still haven't been able to like ride together. We're just kind of like together, but like, you know, there's always something going on. So one of these days
we're always facilitating. We're always facilitating or hurting. Yeah.
There you go.
One day.
So yeah, Carrie, tell us. Let's hear the Genesis story.
God, by Genesis stories, it's a long one. We'll do the abridged version. We'll do Cliff Notes of Carrie. So I actually started off as a downhill mountain bike racer many years ago. Did that for quite a long time. At a national and professional level, and then had a very rapid retirement from professional downhill mountain bike racing. Had a little incident that caused some injuries. Rapid,
crashed?
yeah. The stop was pretty rapid. And spent a couple years recovering from that, some surgeries and all that kind of stuff, and kind of got out of the mountain biking. But in that time, got super into riding my dirt bike and just being outside and trail riding. And then accidentally entered a dirt bike race.
How do you accidentally do that?
I got tacked into it by a good friend of mine that was promoting for the first time, and he was really worried nobody was going to show up. So he's like, just come and ride and it'll be fine. Just, I need more entries. And I'm like, okay. So I went and raced. And I did kind of good. And so then I was like, oh, I'm going to race dirt bikes now. Yeah, as competitive people tend to do, we find more things to compete at. So got down the rabbit hole of racing dirt bikes for like 10 years. You know, cross countries, hare scrambles, ISDEs. Within a couple years of that, actually got into like ultra endurance racing and started racing the 24 hours and the Ironman events. Just kind of rapidly got deeper and deeper into these really, really just like kind of painful, like gut wrenching dirt bike races. And annoyingly, like I was really only good at dirt bike races that were really, really uncomfortable. Like put me in for like 12 hours and that's where I'm going to shine. So it was a tough like 10 years of racing. And did, you know, got into some pretty high level events, raced the Glen Helen Ironman, and then immediately jumped into doing Tour of Idaho because, you know, racing for 24 hours is a great idea. So race for 10 days. That's the next step. And had spent like 10 years doing
hold on.
this. Was just
Tour of Idaho. Let's talk about that real quick. Only woman, right, to ever finish, to ride, to finish.
I'm the only woman in, I think, 17 years of the event to finish it. Yeah. So, like I said,
cool.
The longer I'm on my bike, the better I do. So I kept doing events that were just really uncomfortable, actually.
And for everybody listening, what is the Tour of Idaho? Like, walk through that, because it's a pretty intense freaking deal.
It's essentially like an adventure challenge on a dirt bike. So the year I did it, it was 2,200 miles over a set predetermined course, tracked with satellite trackers and GPS. And you have 10 days to complete it. So you go from the southern border to the northern border of Idaho in less than 10 days on trail. So yeah, it was intense. Yeah. So I did Glen Helen Ironman, and then I did that the next year. And then I was kind of like, Tour of Idaho was one of those things that there was a lot of people betting against me, and there was a lot of people that didn't think it was possible. And so there was this really big buildup and hype. And so when I did it, I was kind of in this weird place of like, I don't know what to do now. Like, I won't say I was burnt out on dirt bikes, but I was at a crossroads.
So what year was that when you kind of got to that point?
That was 2019. So that was over 10 years of racing. Yeah.
And you had not snowbiked up to this point?
No, I'd never even ridden a sled before.
5 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So had you seen snow bikes then? Had you like seen them in passing?
Yeah, because I mean, I rode for Climb for years. I still do. Like, it was always a thing. I always saw that they were there. Like, the dealer that I worked with for years was a Timbersled dealer, but I was just so engrossed in racing dirt bikes. I never really it was just, that to me would be a distraction. I'm training all off season, right? I'm not doing some other fun thing. And then I was done with Tour of Idaho, and I was kind of just like, I don't know what to do with myself now. And I was actually talking to somebody else in the industry. I was meeting a new athlete manager for a team. It was actually Dustin at Climb. And he knew I raced dirt bikes, but he didn't know anything else about me really. And he asked me, he's like, oh, do you ride Timbersleds or snow bikes? I was like, no. And then like, he's like, okay, well, if you ever do, let me know. And I was like, all right. And so then like, this is going to sound totally stupid, but within a week I'd bought a Timbersled. So I'd never ridden one. I never demoed one. I never tried one. Just called up Bob at the dealership. Hey, Bob, you got a Timbersled?
It sounds like a Shannon story. That's what Shannon did too. Just bought it, sight unseen.
Just bought it. Just bought one. Put it on order. I threw it on my like enduro bike at the time. I had like a EXC 350. Like, didn't make any sense, but it's what I had to put it on. And so threw it on there, and like day one was the most stupid day ever to ride. We had gotten this huge blizzard in Oregon. and it was like 3 feet of blower powder. I'd never been on a sled or a snow bike before, and it was the most fun. Like, even though it was ridiculous, white out, powder to the bars, didn't know what I was doing, I was just like, yeah, like, this is my new
On
thing.
cloud
And like
nine.
on cloud 9 the whole time, like, we get done, I'm like, we're going tomorrow, right? Like, this is happening.
So you were pretty much hooked right away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Down the rabbit hole I went. Oh, but the funny thing is I had to call Dustin back like a week later after I'd met him and didn't have a snow bike and been like, oh yeah, hi Dustin, remember me? Yeah, so I ride snow bikes now. I just bought one. And he was just like, who are you?
You're like, hook me up, get me dialed now in the snow bike gear.
So the rest is history.
So what year was that? 2019 or 2020?
That was 19, and I bought the kit.
Okay.
First ride was January 4th of 2020.
Okay.
So,
January 4th,
yeah,
2020.
So rode that year.
4 years.
Yeah. So rode that year, and then
and that was all on your own, right?
Program.
Yeah. Okay.
What's
so
that?
that was just your own. That was your own.
That was just my own thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had help because of some of the companies I worked with on dirt, and then kind of was just like, this is so cool. Like, I want everybody to know how cool this is. I want to tell the world. And so I applied for the ambassador program, going like, they're going to be like, who is this person? She's ridden like for 2 whole months, whatever. And somehow got on the team, which was surprising. I actually was like, is there a different Carrie you should have sent this to? So yeah, and the rest is history. So I've been with them ever since. Just this last year, I was incredibly fortunate to be moved into the athlete program. So riding on that part of the team with Hoyer and Butters and Sam King, and just loving it, just still absolutely loving it every day. It's like, I mean, you saw me trying to describe to the girls at Babes in the Snow how I feel about riding snow bikes, right?
Yeah, it was the greatest impression ever. I was like, I'm using that from now on.
Yeah, so like the big blow up things at car dealerships that have the big funny arms and they just sit there and they're so excited. That's me on a snow bike all the time. I'm just like, yeah. So that's like my enthusiasm level.
When Carrie said that, I was like, that's a perfect description of, I think, for everybody, of what it's like when you're snow biking. It's just
mind blowing.
Hands in the air. Yeah. So you became an ambassador basically 2020 then?
Yeah, okay. So 2020-21 season, was that first year, and kind of jumped like right into the fire. Like, was super fortunate, had the opportunity to work with like some really cool photographers that year. That all those little things just kind of helped to continue to inspire me and push me to do more and more. Like, and that's kind of been my goal, is one, tell everybody who will listen how cool this is, because it's just the most incredible feeling. Show the world what it's all about, but then also, every day I'm on the bike, I want to ride harder stuff. I want to ride, off bigger things. I want to ride through tighter trees. So really the goal has just been, pushing my riding skills, showing as many people as I can how cool the sport is, and just really kind of doing everything I can. Like, that's kind of me in a nutshell, is just go all out
and I
all
think
the
that's
time. So
and that's like a big, I mean, all you ladies here, like, that's what everybody's here for, right? Is to grow the sport, to showcase it, talk about it, really just bring more people into the fold. I mean, that's our goal here. So what is your bike that you ride now, and favorite place? And then, tell us your height as well.
Okay, so if I stand up super tall, I'm 5'4", so I'm actually more like 5'3". Let's see, the bikes I'm on. So my fave right now is my girl Tina. You met Tina. She's sweet. Tina, because she's simply the best. So she's a 23 KTM 450 SX, and I have that on the 24 Riot 3 Pro S. Last year I realized how much I wanted to get people into this, so I built a backup bike. It's my spring bike, but I can also have people demo it and try it out, and when they come visit they can ride it. And that's FC 350, and I have a
we lost Carrie. Carrie's out. We'll wait for her to jump back in. So why Carrie is coming back in, which I'm sure she'll figure this out pretty quickly. Something that I wanted you guys to all talk about was one of your most favorite experiences snowbiking and one of your least favorite experiences snowbiking. So why don't I'll start at the top, Shelley, and everybody be thinking about this. So Shelley, talk us through one of your favorite and one of your least, because I think we can all relate with that type of stuff. And I think Jessika, if you want to mute yours or whoever's isn't muted, we had some feedback there. All right, go ahead, Shelley.
Yeah, so probably one of my least favorite snow biking experiences was a very late spring ride. And we were riding on super crusty spring snow. We started at 5 a.m. And it was like we couldn't
5 a.m.
Yeah, I know.
It's hardcore.
If you knew my husband, you'd know why we started at 5 a.m. But we started at 5 a.m. and we are going up there, and we are just like, you get off the trail and it's just, you can't get any of that like fluffy snow or anything to go up in your track. And so we're just roasting high facts, like horrible. Like there was nowhere to go to cool down. There was no, like, it just
real quick. There's a lot, since there's so many new people that'll be watching this. So high faxes, guys. Yeah. Why don't you tell us, Shelley, what the high faxes are? Because a lot of people have no clue.
There's a high fax that sits, it's kind of like a buffer between your rail and your track. And so it like is a nice buffer. So if things do get a little hot, like your track's not going to melt into your rail. And so those are there for a purpose, right? And so we couldn't get ours cooled. It was early in the morning. Like there was no way that things were like going to warm up by that time. So I remember talking to Jessika about this actually on Instagram, and we were talking about just roasting our high faxes. But yeah, some spring riding. That day was probably like the worst day for me, just because I was like, there's nothing I can do to cool this down, but like we have to keep riding. And then one of my favorite days was up riding with a group. It was actually this season, up riding with a group of guys. And it was just a fun group of people that like just rallied through the trees. Like they were just a solid group to ride with, and it was just like an all-time high.
Nobody was just tipping over all the time, like in the trees and
no. Yeah, it was like we were pulling some stuff, and it was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah.
And where was that at?
It was up Willow, so one of the canyons here in Star Valley.
Okay, cool.
Willow
and that was
Creek.
This year.
Yep, that was this year, earlier on.
Were you the only woman rider?
I was. Yep.
Right
I think like when I pulled up to, like when I followed my husband and we pulled up to the group, because we started a little bit later, and so we had like to go up and find the group. And when I pulled up onto the top of the mountain side in the trees, they were just like, who's this chick? Like,
yeah. So always the first response, who's this? Yeah. This wood rider. Right on. Well, cool. Anything else you wanted to share on that?
Nope. It's mostly good days though. There's only a few
mostly
a few
good
bad
days.
ones. Yeah. And it's only when it's bad, it's only like a short bad.
Yeah, and there's, the way I look at it, I'm like, there's no good or there's no bad days snowbiking, right? Like it's always fun. There's definitely better days snowbiking. So real quick, I'm gonna just show. So this is from Ashmore from Babes in the Dirt, and she just said here for everybody listening, all of you riders are amazing, very inspired, and we'll be stalking you all on Instagram. She's got to pop off and go get baby in bed. But yeah, that was from Ashmore, who, co-founder of Babes in the Dirt. She's freaking amazing, super rad gal. And really, really glad that we worked with her on doing some stuff here and getting more women involved. And I can tell everybody listening right now, holy crap, there's definitely a lot more exposure now. There's so many women that follow Babes in the Dirt and that are riders that are now, they want to go, they're seeing you guys riding and realize like, okay, we can all do this. So yeah, you guys are all super inspiring to all these ladies. So thanks again. And I know, I know Ashmore's super pumped to be a part of it. We got Carrie back, so that's good. That worked out good, Carrie. We were just going through one other question, but I'll let you finish. I think you were just about wrapped up.
I dropped,
you were saying what your bike was, and
oh yeah, I didn't tell you what my snacks were.
How tall you were. Oh yeah, snacks. So bike, snacks, and favorite place to ride.
So we went through the bikes. So Tina and the Quiet Riot, they're both awesome. Snacks, I love all the snacks, much like Vic. You always have to have some gummies with you. New pro tip for if you're traveling, if your hotel or lodge establishment has a breakfast bar with a waffle maker, waffles, peanut butter, and bacon sandwiches. The best for packing in your riding bag. So that's my pro tip for traveling. Waffle, peanut butter, bacon sandwiches.
You should just come out with Carrie's own line of Snowbike, peanut butter, waffle, bacon sandwiches.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and then favorite place to ride. So coming from Oregon concrete snow, the riding in Utah is amazing. Like high elevation, above alpine, crazy lakes, powder, rock drops, all of it. Aspens, pines, the works. So my favorite place right now to ride is Utah. But Utah's terrible. Don't come here. It's awful. Don't come
it's
here.
terrible. Don't come here.
Yeah. No,
or if you do, just make sure you hit up Carrie and go ride with her.
Yeah, because I got the spare bike. So
that's right. So I think here in just a minute we'll start one of the giveaways. But guys, we'll just give it another couple of minutes. Go on, make sure if you haven't registered, snowbikenation.com, put your info in there, and then we'll choose from there for the giveaway. All right, Jessika. So we'll go to you next. You heard this story. So Carrie, I asked everybody to share one of their best experiences snowbiking and one of their least favorite experiences snowbiking.
Well, I'll think on that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Jessika.
I don't know if there's such thing as there's no bad days on the snow bike really, but I will say one of the more inconvenient days is it was last season. We put 125 hours on our bikes. We haven't really gone through our bikes to make sure we did all the maintenance. So first, as soon as we got out, Rooster blew his chain. And then an hour later, I blew my chain. And then it was just had to go back and forth to the trailer. We just want to ride. And then as soon as we get to the zone, our other friend, his bike won't start. So we ended up towing the bike back. And you know how when you're towing another bike with a Timbersled, it's not that easy. So it ended up staying the night there and we had to go get it the next day. But those days are dang it, just wanted to go play. But one of my favorite days, I have so many, but one that stands out is we had an oxbow ride a couple weeks ago near Logan.
Will you tell everybody what oxbow is that's watching? Because there's probably a lot of people have no idea.
Yeah, so they make radios. They're cordless, super nice. And then they also make headlights if you like to do night riding. Most snow bikes, they don't have headlights. So you can get a little flashlight with a GoPro mount and put it on your helmet. So they make those. It's super fun to go night riding if you have any interest in that. But yeah, we were all out there. Everyone that was a part of the Oxbow team, all levels, sledders, snowbikers. We probably had over 50 people, and it just got super rowdy.
50 snowbikers?
No, so sledders and snowbikers.
Oh, okay. Still, that's a lot of people. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was just fun, and it was like a skate park. Just so many features, so many cliff drops. We just had a really good time, just good company. Just everyone got rowdy. It was super fun.
Yeah, that sounds like mayhem. 50 people. I can't even imagine.
It gets a little hectic, but
yeah,
it was so fun.
We just got done with riding with 12, 13 people, and it was mayhem. Well, that's cool. And that was just this year, you said?
Yeah. Yep. A few weeks ago.
Right on. Cool. Nice. That's awesome. Well, cool. Thanks. And did you share your favorite snack, by the way?
So my favorite snack is peanut butter balls. If you know me, I always have peanut butter balls. These are homemade. Adam's peanut butter, throw in some honey, and then protein powder, peanuts, chocolate chips, and you just mash them into little balls, and you're good to go.
Taking notes. Protein
Lots of
powder.
protein.
Okay, and you said chocolate chips?
Yeah, I will give you a warning. You may need to
Ooh.
have water because they get kind of thick and sticky.
Okay.
But I love
like it. So maybe throw a little flour in there to just help with the stickiness or something.
Yeah,
that's great.
More peanut butter, the better.
I think you guys got way more tips on snacks than the guys. That's for dang sure, because I'm already have heard some pretty good snacks. And then Shelley did give her snacks. Awesome. Anything else, Jessika?
And that's it.
All right. Vic, you're up.
All right. One of those inconvenient times, as Jessika mentioned, was on my 300, my Husky 300 that I had before my 450. It was a learning experience, and we didn't know that I needed a carb heater. So I had ridden it a couple times. It was fine because we have nice California warm riding days sometimes, and one day it wasn't so warm. And literally the whole, like, there, I don't even know if we had an engine jacket on it, or if we did, it was from Nick's 350. And when it would like heat up, it would burn and smell. We did have it because it would smell like Chinese food. So the whole deal, like, just ice box. And I have a picture of us warming it by a fire. Like we did a fire in the middle of the ride day to like warm up my bike. And then later when we were like going back, my whole throttle froze wide open while I was riding it. And then eventually it just stopped working. So we had to.
Were you like holding on? Like, was it
I was in the middle of riding it in the trees, and all of a sudden it just was wide open. I like pulled in the clutch, and I was like, "Hey Nick, I think something's wrong." And then we realized what happened. And then, yay, fun story later after the fact, I was riding the same bike in the summer, and the whole throttle cable broke because it had been like so tweaked. And so Nick had to ride my bike out. We were so far out, by literally, because the whole cable snapped, he had to use like this as the throttle of the little
cable. So he was using his finger as the throttle. That's awesome.
Anyway, so that great. Was we learned the hard way.
That was your best time, right? You said
that was the inconvenient time.
Best
time, actually, sorry, a close second was riding last year, same trip as my highlight, with Shelley when her husband broke his back. That was quite eye-opening. We were snowbiking and just a freak accident.
Broke her back?
Her husband he fractured one of his things back there.
Vertebrae.
So that was just like a bummer. Yeah. It was our first day out. And so Nick and I went to Park City and then to Wyoming, where Shelley lives, for our honeymoon last winter. And it was epic. It was great. But our first day riding with them, her husband Gavin hit just like a little jump and landed funky, and then wound up having to wait for search and rescue. So many highlights, sorry, but Shelley breast pumping in the middle of riding was like unmatched. Anyway, the next day after that traumatic experience,
I've also witnessed Shelley breast pumping in that country.
Wait, hold on. I just real quick. I remember when we were at the Babes event. I swear one of the women talked about this very thing. Oh, it was dirt biking. She was dirt biking and like doing a race. Okay, that's what it was. I'm like, I just heard this. This wasn't Shelley. This was okay.
Another one.
But, we gotta feed those kids.
On our honeymoon.
Gotta feed those kids.
That same trip, we rode down on like the border of Idaho with some of Nick's friends, and they got him on a snow bike, and that was just the best day because it was literally like hard enduro snow biking. We were in the tightest trees. It was super deep, and Nick was on a snow bike, so we could like you just go where sleds can't. And it was the only time I've ever been able to do that because I never get to ride with just snow bikers. And it was gnarly, but it was so fun.
That's fun. Yes. That's the best. I think that enduro snow biking. And it really is, right? You're just freaking slaying it in the trees.
Like bars wide, like I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And then you do.
And you don't even know, you don't know where you're going. You're like, well, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I might get stuck in the trees, but we'll
and the
figure it out
pace
as we
is
go.
just so much faster because like sledders, it's almost frustrating. I mean, it is frustrating because they have to stop almost to make a turn. And you're like, oh my God, I can't just stop all the time.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of, while we're on that subject, that's what a lot of snowmobilers don't understand, where they're like, oh, snow bikes, they suck. You can't. It's like, dude, you get in the trees, you're doing circles around sleds. I always love pulling up into like really like a lot of tree areas, and you just start to see the sledders that are stuck, and you just come up, hey, do you need a hand? Let me pull you out, and they recognize, and that you see that little bit of jealousy on their face. Like, yeah, I'd like to be on a snow
It doesn't
bike.
have the power though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it doesn't. You seem to get around just fine, Vic, right, on the snow bike. Anything else to add on your favorite day?
I mean, I could just go on, but
every day, like
Shelley's breast pumping and the enduro riding were close tie there.
That's awesome. Shelley was getting after it while she was snow biking, saving the breast milk for when you get back. Oh, that's great.
It's perfectly chilled when you go, out and play in the snow. You don't have to worry about keeping an ice pack with it.
That's great. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think this will be a good spot let's do a giveaway. Also, just a couple comments here. Cody Kirkland, he's a great rider. This is awesome. All you ladies are killing it on the bikes. Keep inspiring other women. Heck yes. Keep inspiring ladies. Also, who said this? This was Jessika. You have a fan, it sounds like, of these peanut butter balls. Another gal, Monica Travers, said she's definitely making them. So me too, Monica. I took notes, so I'm doing that as well. And then Lance Fisher, I know Lance. He said he's definitely getting his wife a snow bike, so that's awesome. All right, so let's do the first giveaway here. Let me pull up everybody who signed up. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure to go to the website snowbikenation.com, enter your info. And I'm going to start pulling from people, which looks like pretty cool. I see a couple guys on here, but most of them are women. So that's awesome. All right. So what should we give away first, guys? You guys let me know. What do we want to give away, Tess? Should we give away the Timbersled $200 gift card credit? However that works. Do we want to give that away? Okay.
I think she froze. I'm down.
I think she did. Does that sound good, ladies? All right. Yeah, I think Tess froze. All right. So I'm going to spin the wheel over here. All right.
Sure.
Looks like.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. We're doing it now. Dawn Care. So Dawn, just email. Actually, Tess, can I just have him email you? Okay. Reach out to Tess. I don't know if we want to give that on screen here, but maybe we just post, if you want to post your email in the comments, email Tess and she'll get you squared away with that. So Dawn Care. And if you're not listening, we'll send you an email afterwards. All right. We'll give away another one of those. And then I think we should give away a set of the goggles because those are pretty sick. All right. Test.Mason87. There we go. Wow. If you have, anyways, I'll save that for later. Okay. So next we've got another lady. I don't know her, but I know her husband. I rode with him up in Golden. Tiffany, is it Deschamps? Tess? Deschamps?
Yeah, that's Tyler's wife.
Yeah, Tyler's wife. Yeah. And she rides, right?
No, she doesn't ride.
Oh,
no.
I thought she did. Ride.
But we'll make sure that Tyler doesn't get the prize.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, and now she needs to start riding. So Tiffany, she'll get the second Timbersled $200 credit. All right, so we've got one more of those to give away. We'll save that. And then let's do the giveaway for the goggles. So 2 of these, they're the Kingpin goggles. 2 came from 509 and 1 of them from Penco Power Products, which is here in Kalispell, Montana. So spin this again. Let's see who's on here. All right. Looks like Kaylee Kayer, you're up next. So Kaylee Kayer wins the goggles. Anybody know Kaylee? Dawn. Oh, Dawn said she's super excited. There we go. So Dawn, you just won that. And then Kaylee, what did I say? Kaylee Kayer. So Kaylee, if you're on here, say hi. You just won the goggles. All right. Tyler said, by the way, his wife rides sleds. So that's it. That's good. She's out ripping. All right. Let's go. We'll move on to Carrie's best and what did Victoria say? Least
most
I don't even
challenging.
know.
It was Jessica's fine insight of what was it?
You I was saying best and worst, but you didn't say worst. You said least or I don't remember what you said.
It was
Inconvenient.
Inconvenient. There we go. Nobody can
yeah.
remember. Inconvenience.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So Carrie,
Oh
best
gosh.
and most inconvenienced.
There's so many good days. It's hard to like narrow it down. Obviously, so I used to coach dirt bikes quite a bit. Coached women's clinics, coached kids doing 24-hour races, like all sorts of stuff like that. And I do find that really rewarding. So honestly, like this last weekend, that was one of like the best experiences on a snow bike for me, is getting able to go through and help like these amazing 8 women actually try. Some of them snow bikes for the very first time. Some of them were street bikers. Some of them have maybe been on a snow bike once. So that was really high up on the list of things that I've done, is being involved in that and being able to help those women have just an absolutely shredding time. Because honestly, by the time we were done with day 3, they were like getting rowdy in the trees. I was like, whoa, oh,
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
Yeah, when we took
good
those
for
gals
you.
back in the trees, I was like, all right, yep, here we go.
I mean, the enthusiasm and just the way that they approached that whole week was just so impressive to me. So that's definitely one of my favorite moments.
Awesome.
The other, I think, big one for me was there's been a couple really cool moments where I like achieved something on the snow bike that I didn't think I could do. Like I very specifically have a day in mind where Todd Williams is actually in my radio, like, hey Carrie, it'd be kind of cool if you went and hit that trick. I don't know, I guess maybe if you can't, but it'd be cool if you did. And like, fine, Todd, I'm gonna go do the trick. And going through and boom, being able to do it, just having that support from the community, having that support from the people that we ride with. So that moment of being able to do like that first big trick the first time, and I remember that very distinctly. So those
What
are kind
was
of
it?
some really.
Do you remember?
I just whipped out just a huge like on the end of the track wheelie for the first time, and Todd caught it on film, and like all the ambassadors that were on shoot that day saw it and were cheering, and it was just like the best moment. So just
That's
kind of
awesome.
achieving that, like, wow, I can do this like in kind of a cool way, not just cruising around. I can do some neat stuff sometimes. So that was a really cool moment. Inconvenient days. I don't know. I truly believe that everything we experience on the snow to some level is going to teach us something. So they may seem like a tough day at the time, but I think we all can look back on even the worst days or the tough days and take something good away from it. I think my most inconvenient experience was in McCall. I think the second year I was riding, I ended up about 15 feet down through the snow in a creek. That I learned a lot from. It was inconvenient, but I took away a lot of really good lessons from it. So I won't say it was a bad day. It was just a day I learned a lot. So yeah, learned about being, the importance of being prepared and why we carry all the gear with us, and why you ride with solid people.
What happened? Yeah, what happened exactly there?
It was the dumbest thing. It was the dumbest thing. We were starting our ride. We're on vacation. We're like stoked. It's like 2 degrees out, and I'm fully decked. Like I will say, like I've had incredible support from Klein. They make sure I'm safe. They make sure I have good gear. They make sure I've got an Avi bag. Their gear's top notch. Don't go out into the backcountry without good gear from whatever company it is. So I was prepared, and that's why I was okay. But we were just cruising through a meadow. It was an area that we weren't super familiar with, and I will admit I didn't look at the maps real well. And I just went up over a rise, no big deal. And then I kind of saw the snow under me was like a little translucent and was like, oh crap. And as soon as I realized it, the dome I was on collapsed underneath me and I went straight down. I managed to get off my bike when I fell. So I actually like pushed off and ended up falling and landing in the creek feet down. So I was head up, which is great because if I would have gone down with the bike, the nose of the bike was completely down in the creek bottom. So I managed to get upright and keep my head out of the water. But I was completely wedged in, snow all the way up the face. I was completely buried. When my buddy saw me, he had eyes on when I went in. All they saw when they came up to me was the bumper sticking out of the snow because all the snow came down and collapsed on me. And I could feel the water coming up through my bibs. So I was in the creek up to my waist at that point. I was about 2 degrees out. So
up a creek without a paddle. Or
up a creek without a paddle, but had a tow rope that had a hook on it, was able to anchor the bike, pull the bike off of me, dig out, get out of the hole, had all the right gear. I honestly wasn't cold until I got back to the trailer. So moments like that, those remind us why we never shortcut the getting ready process. We never don't put that extra piece of gear on. We don't ever not put the extra toe strap in. We always have what we need. We always ride with radios. We always do a radio check. That was the other thing is how I landed in the hole. I actually I had put my elbows out because my feet weren't touching anything. They were just in the water. And so I was worried I was going to go further down into the water, but my hand was next to my radio. And so I could actually call up and say like, hey, I'm fine. Please get me out of this hole. It's not nice. So it turned out completely fine. A group of sledders actually came along and helped us get the bike out. One of them took me back to the staging area, got in the trailer, got my wet clothes off. I was totally fine. I look at how some people leave a trailhead though, unprepared. And if that happens to people that I see leave the trailhead on a pretty regular basis, the outcome might not be so good. So days like that just remind us why we put so much effort into being safe and having all the right gear and being prepared when we go out. So
that leads me to another question, ladies. Just be thinking about. I want everybody to share like their one piece of gear that's critical or that you like to have while you're out riding. And obviously, let's just put aside like Abby gear, hands down. Everybody needs to have that, like no brainer. So we can just get that out of the way. Abby gear is like, you have to have it, right? So aside from like Abby gear, what's the one thing that you guys all have? Because I think that'd be really cool to share. And then also, I don't know if we want to talk about it, but I know like on our trip, Carrie talked about, oh, let me show you ladies, you can pee in a mono suit. Like we'll show you how to do that. So it is doable, ladies. I know everybody has that question. Like, well, how the heck do you do it? So
I know all these girls are like, how do we go to the bathroom? I'm like, okay, let's do the demo. This is how you get the mono suit off. This is where you hold it. So
did the little demo. That was awesome. So, well, thanks for sharing, Carrie. Anything else on that? Good?
No, I think just most days are good, and every now and then we have one that reminds us of why we come prepared.
And Jay and Nicole, she just said, this is the scariest story I've ever heard. No, you'll just wait. Yeah, there's many scary ones, Jay, but yeah, that is kind of freaky though, right? And that's why you do all the training that we do. So anyhow, and then also I wanted to show this. Shalane said she's been there with the breast pump, so that's right. That's awesome. Not something guys need to worry about. So that was I thought that was some interesting stories. having the breast pump. That's great. Okay, Christina, you're next. Yeah, tell us best and most inconvenienced time riding.
Most inconvenienced Shalane was on this ride. It was another Brock bowling experience. You can hear my husband laughing.
Yeah, I heard Mike laughing in the background.
So, spring riding, South Fork. If you've ever been around Northwest Montana, you essentially run down dry pavement and an old like 2-track to get to the riding area for 6-7 miles. It was supposed to be a small demo ride. It turned into like 15 people. There was a guy on a Yeti kit that kept cutting me off, and I dropped my bike probably 50 times that day. At one point, I told Brock that I wanted a helicopter to pick me up off the side of the mountain because I was
oh my
done.
gosh.
And his response was, you can either go back through what you just rode all day, or you can like suck it up and go down this drainage. So I said that I still wanted my option, which was a helicopter, like get to, but I want to go home. But ended up punching down the drainage and going home. But it was just one of those struggle bus days. I was on an unfamiliar bike, like just not a fun ride. Best ride, I will warn you guys.
Shalane, by the way, was laughing. She said she could remember that as well. It sounds like Shalane was there.
Yeah. Shalane and I were the only girls on this ride, with all guys side hilling around mountains in the South Fork, like punching through drainages. It was a big boy ride. Best ride, again, probably going to get emotional, but last year for my dad's 65th birthday, we built him a surprise snow bike build. And then for his actual 65th birthday, we went down to McCall and rode with him. We had Bluebird, just beautiful weather, ton of fun. And then he passed away this winter. So yeah, but
that's cool. You got to go ride with him. Yeah.
It was, you don't get Bluebird days a ton in McCall, and we were up above the valley overlooking all the views, and yeah, it was a fun ride.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, Brock bowling,
you'll always remember.
Brock bowling rides never go well.
Oh yes. Yeah. I know how those go. Sometimes Brock. You're like,
love him dearly. It's just, it was a hot mess express day.
Yeah. Well, and you know, sometimes it's one of those things where you're like, you got the plan, and you're like, well, it didn't quite turn out like I hoped. Those are the shortcut days when we take a shortcut, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then be thinking about the piece of gear. All right. Last but not least, Tess. Let's hear. I have a theory that it was either with Shannon or Matt for the most inconvenience. Just a theory, but maybe not. Can you hear us, Tess?
Oh, it's funny. Right.
I can. Oh, there you go. Now you're back.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I was putting it between Matt and Shannon, but I was thinking of my most inconvenient day and my most best day would have to be with Hoya, taking me through Hoyerville, and it was very inconvenient. I didn't like it.
What does that mean exactly? Tell us what that means. What does Hoyerville mean? And tell us who Brock Hoyer is, because a lot of people might not know.
So Hoyerville is, not a lot of people get to experience Hoyerville. So it's, I don't want to swear online when we're online, but you're pretty much just like, it's unknown where you're going. And we were in Williams Lake one year, and I was on a Riot 120, and it was deep snow and it was freezing, and I rode with Brock and like a bunch of people, and where we went, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Obviously had to believe in myself, had to believe that he believed in me, and that Shannon believed in me, and the group believed in me. And it was the most inconvenient experience. And I could go on about Shannon and Matt as well, where they take me, but it just makes you a better rider. It really, really does. But on this one particular day.
Oh, I think we lost her again.
Riding.
You're back now, Tess. And what's funny?
I made it. I was able to, you know what I mean?
We lost you there for a second. You
Brock. Oh, you're online. I love it.
Yeah, Brock's on here. He's laughing at your story, by the way. He probably knows all about
Oh
that.
my goodness.
So you were
Yeah,
saying
you
Matt
know,
and Shannon, following them make you a better rider?
Oh, and Brock as well. I think the biggest tip that I have for riding with people is ride with someone that's better than you. It's really the only way that you get better. You know, you're not going to get better if you're riding at someone at the same level or someone's that's not as good. But my best and my worst day was combined in Williams Lake with going to Hoyerville and then making it out alive out of Hoyerville. So yeah. And yes, Shannon and Matt do put me through some situations as well. I only have a couple of ladies that I get to ride with, and unfortunately, it's not that often that we get to ride together. So Shannon and Matt really pushed me to my limits and stuff as well. And another inconvenient day that I was thinking about, like while I was noodling, listening to everyone else's story, was having to get towed out by Shannon. Actually, it was a tow start, and being 5'2" and you having to be the towee, not the tower, it wasn't that easy because like we'd get so far that I dropped the bike.
And Tess, you're breaking up again, but for everybody listening, if you've never been towed out on a dirt bike or anything, or if you have been towed out on a dirt bike, it's very, very different getting towed out on a snow
so far
bike.
and dropped the bike, and it took him to.
You just came back.
Oh, I did. Oh, thanks.
That's okay. I was just telling him how sucky it is to get towed out. So you were getting towed out, you said, and you kept falling over.
I did, yeah, and it took 3 times, and it was getting dark, and it was just Shannon and I out riding, and he came over to me, and he's like, "Why do you keep tipping over? You never tip over." And then after he said it to me the 3rd time, I got it, and away we went. We were fine, but it was pretty inconvenient. It's not being nice being towed out and that sort of thing. But you make it out. You do what you got to do, and away you go.
Yeah, just part of it. Well, I'm gonna have to come up and go on a Hoyerville trip one of these times. It sounds like, it's funny because doing tours, I'm always like so cognizant about, I want everybody to have a lot of fun, and I don't really take people into hard stuff unless like they're really good riders, because it can get really frustrating really quick. And so every time I have someone where they're like doing really well, I'm like, "Oh, you want to come like on a fun ride?" I call it a Kyle ride. They're like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then, you're like, "All right, here we go." And you're shredding through the trees. But to your point, Tess, yeah, riding with people that push you obviously is going to make you a better rider. So that's awesome. So, all right. And I think we lost Tess again. She like went in and out there. So we'll go back around here to Shelley. So what was the question I asked? Oh, your guys' favorite item there. And talk about that. And then Tess, I want to get back to you here in a minute, because you got a really good story about riding with some snowmobile women that I want you to share. So Shelley, piece of gear that you will never leave and you always have with you.
Yeah. So after the accident that Vic mentioned earlier, when my husband broke his back up snowmobiling or snowbiking, I now always have at least 2 emergency blankets on my Abby bag, and that's just been like a little saving grace. You never know what's going to happen up in the mountains. So
yep, good call. Jessika.
Okay. So I get cold super easy, and I really like to bring a hydro flask with a hot beverage in it. You boil some water in the morning, put some tea in there or amino energy, whatever you like to drink. It's just really hard when you're out there to stay hydrated because you're cold, and the last thing you want to drink is a cold beverage. So I recommend just getting a hydro flask and boiling up some water and having a hot beverage out there to keep you hydrated.
Good call. Yep, I like that. And before we get to you, Vic, let's do one more giveaway. Why don't we go ahead and give away? So we have 4 sets of Kingpin goggles. Is that right? Okay, cool. Sorry, I thought it was 3. Let's go ahead and so we gave away 2. Let's go ahead and give away 1 more, and then we'll give away the Climb Women's. What is it? The Versa? What is that? I don't know what that is. Somebody tell me.
It's like the best lightweight gloves out there.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Cool.
They're
And
like
that one we're gonna give.
They're the women's version of the inversion glove.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. I didn't even know there were specific women gloves. So
Oh
shows me how
yeah.
much I know.
Small
Okay.
hands.
Small hand. Yeah, I think I might have to get a pair of those because I know I've had it sometimes that my smalls are a little bit big for some women. Okay, so we'll give away the women's Versa gloves. We'll give away the other Kingpin goggles. That'll leave us one more. And then let's give away the 509 free range gloves. Why not? Those are also coming from Shelley, and she's like saying, yes, best women's all around glove as well. All right, so let's go ahead and we had a guy pop up in here. Eric Mann. All right. Well, we're not going to give him the women's gloves. That's for sure. We'll have him win the Kingpin goggles. So Eric, hit up Tess here. You can find her email in there, or hit me up if you couldn't find it. So we'll have Eric won the other Kingpin goggles. We'll save the other one here for a little bit. And then we've got, okay, what I say? Yeah, the women's Versa gloves and are the free range gloves from 509 also women's gloves? Yes? Okay. Like I don't know. All right. Yep, down one. Let's go with let me spin this here. Monica Travins. Because she didn't win, right? I'm like, did I say her name? Okay, just making sure. So Monica, you won the Climb Women's Versa gloves from Penco. Thanks, Penco and Shalane. Shalane's on here. And then the last one are the 509 free range gloves from Penco. All right. Is it Kaylin? Kaylin Dennis? You on here, Kaylin? Yeah, Carrie knows Kaylin, looks like. All right, Kaylin won. Okay, so here's our winners so far. We got Dawn, Monica. Oh, it was Kaylee, not Kaylin. That's right. Who won? Perfect. All right, so that leaves us, guys. We have another set of goggles. What are the ones that you're giving away, Christina? Are you giving away a set, or am I wrong?
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay, and then I don't know what this USWE belt bag is. Anybody know what that is?
I've got it at the house here. So we've got some
Okay.
Kinetic, X2.
Oh, some X2D. Sweet.
Yep. And
out of Idaho.
Belt bag.
Sweet. All right, we'll give those two away next. And then that will leave us one more Timbersled $200 gift card, another set of make sure you're keeping track, Tess, because I'm probably getting this wrong. Another set of the Kingpin gloves and the 509 license plates and stickers and the Summit Snowbike. Cool. By the way, we're giving away a rental from Summit Snowbikes. So if you can't make it up to Canada up there with them, I will substitute because they're my boys, Shannon, Tess, and I will do that. If you can't make it up there to them, you can come snowbike with me. And so anyways, we'll make sure someone gets out on the snow if they win. Does that sound good, Tess? All right.
Sounds good.
Right on. But I know you'll want to go snowbike with Tess versus me. So she'll be way more fun. All right. So where do we leave off? Vic.
All right. So along with Jessika, I have found that I can't live without heated socks. No matter, I've tried so many different boots and socks and all the things. They just make me more comfortable. But on a more practical sense, we have a battery jump. It's a portable. I don't even know the brand. I'm struggling. If you know, shout it out. But
there's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's like this big. It literally fits in my tunnel bag on my snow bike, and it's come in handy because the new, or maybe most 450s, I don't know, but they don't have the kickstart anymore. And so that's come in handy and it feels better to have, like when we were up in Wyoming, it was so cold, the bikes, it struggled to start, so we had to jump it just even in the parking lot, but it just feels like that peace of mind to have.
100%.
Can't bump start in the snow, really.
Agreed on that. Absolutely. Good call. All right. Who's next? Carrie? Piece of gear.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be like, again, get on my safety soapbox. Always keep a first aid kit and a baby sack. So if you did have to stay out overnight. And Kyle, you already saw how much I love my pocket knife, so I keep a knife on me as well.
Heck yeah, gotta have that knife.
Yeah. Gotta make skewers for food. I mean, yeah. So
right.
First aid, baby sack, and a pocket knife.
Say baby sack, pocket knife. Boom. Love it. Christina?
Good radios. We've had a couple times where we've had radio failures. Mike went at cow tag this weekend for about an hour, and his radio had, so we had no idea where he was.
Oh, damn.
The other thing I carry is tampons, multi-purpose, not just for women. You can use them to dip in your gas tank and start a fire.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep, just somebody gets cut, you can put it on a cut.
Yep.
So even the boys carry them and ask them when
call.
We're fires. But yeah, good radios. We do a sport that it's literally life and death out there if you mess up. So
yes, I will say it's funny. Like I've seen dirt bikers, especially because a lot of dirt bikers will ride without radios. I never do personally, but when they, I've talked to guys that are going to come ride and they're like, oh, do I need a radio? And I'm like, well, when you're snow biking, I'm like, absolutely. You're not following a trail. And if you don't have a good radio, your ass might be stuck, out there without any help. So yes, radios, 100%. Yeah. Thanks, Christina. All right, Tess.
Well, I agree with everything that everyone said, but one thing that I don't leave home without is an inReach. Always take my inReach. Yeah, that is one of the things that I make sure that's charged up every night, and plus everything that everyone just said as well. So inReach for me.
Yep. inReach, yeah, if you guys don't know what that is, Garmin inReach. So you can not only text a message out to a friend or someone, but you press I call it the oh shit button, the SOS button, and they send the cavalry, right? So they'll come and get you, obviously doing tours, guiding. We have those, me and all my guides. And here's another thing I will recommend when you are doing your, your guys' kind of like initial check as a group of riders. I show everyone where my inReach is. I'm like, it's right here in my pocket. This is how you work it if you've never used it. So that way, if I'm knocked out or whatever, someone can push it. So I recommend also showing people that. I just want to kind of get on my little safety soapbox here as well, Carrie. When I did my wilderness first responder training, they grilled this into our heads. And I always tell everyone, carry a tourniquet. Okay. You can go and get them online. They're pretty cheap. Get a tourniquet and don't put it in your backpack. Well, put one in your backpack, but put it on your body right here in whatever pocket that you have on your body, because that's the one thing that can save you, especially your life or someone else's, in minutes. I mean, if you get a femoral, artery cut or something like that, you're talking, you've got minutes before that person's going to die. So if you have that tourniquet on you, you whip that thing out, you can save your life, save someone else's life. So I always have that. So add that to your checklist. All right, cool. So I want to, before we move on, Tess, real quick, let's kind of get into getting women riding, right? This is what we're all here for, ladies. So let's talk about what you guys recommend. How can more women get into snow biking? What are some tips that you can give to them and all your women on here? And she said, I'm getting excited over tampons. Yes, so excited. So all you ladies on here that are listening, what are your questions that you have for these ladies? Go ahead and post them in here and we'll make sure to answer them. But I want Tess to kind of just real quick give this brief background about this story that she just told me about these women snowmobilers, because it's like just the epitome of what people think about snowbiking versus snowmobiling. So Tess, will you go ahead and tell that story?
Yeah, absolutely. So last weekend I attended the Kelowna Snowmobile Club ladies ride. It was actually the first ladies ride that I'd ever done, and I was the only snow biker. And then I told my friend Sammy Lynn, who's also a snow biker, to come along, and we were riding into the advanced group. So we were like split up into like 4 different groups. And at the start of the day,
and how many women were in your group?
There was four sledders and then 2 of us snowbikers. Yeah. Cool. And at the start of the day, I'd offered, I'm like, if anyone wants to try my bike throughout the day, please let me know. You're more than welcome to try, or try Sammy Lynn's. And everyone was like, not everyone, but the girls weren't interested at the start of the day. And then as we're ripping through the mountains, me and Sammy are like, going playing and through the trees, and then catching back up to the group, getting in front of the lead guide and things like that. And it was a relatively deep day as well. I was the only one that got stuck on the snow bikes, but it was just so easy to get out. Like what Vic was saying before, it's like not very often that we have to pull out our shovels. And the girls on the sleds were getting stuck a little bit. We'd have to help them. And they were getting tired, obviously, they were like getting exhausted. And so it was nearly at the end of the day where we had to go back to the main group of ladies, like the whole group of ladies. And all 4 ladies said to me, "Can I take you up on that offer to ride your bike?" And I'm like, "Of course." We're in a mellow area, I'm like, "Yes, like you can take it out, have a ride." And they all loved it. They all absolutely loved it. And they were like, I don't know why, like, this is so easy, compared to snowmobiling. And they're like, like next season, we're going to have to look into getting this, like not 100% transitioning over from sled to snow bike, but they absolutely loved it. And, there was that hesitation in the beginning. It's like, nah, I don't want to, ride the snow bike. And then, and then here we are, like I said, me and my mate, we're just popping out, doing our own adventure, and then catching up to the group again. And by the end of it, we really convinced them to have a go, and they all loved it, and they nailed it as well, which was that's even awesome. The better thing. Yeah, it was a really good experience. So, like going back to your question before, that was a really good day for me as well, because generally I don't ride with a lot of sledders, but generally when I do, it's like, oh, I'll have a go with the bike. I'm like, nope, I don't want to have a go at the bike. And then these girls did, and then just absolutely nailed it and fell in love. So it was really good.
And so at the end of that, were women like, "Oh, I might need to get one of these," or like, "That's really like I was easier than I thought"? Like, what were the women saying?
Yeah, like the general sentiment and feedback was about getting one. Like I said, not completely switching over from snowmobile to like Shelley, right? She does both. But they loved it. They found it easier. It was easier to maneuver with, and it was more playful, and then seeing me and my other snowbiking girlfriend, just like cruise off like that. They weren't able to do that, and then come back into the group, and and then they tried it and they loved it. And I must admit, we were showing off a little bit, me and Sammy, like hitting a couple of jumps, and that, like after that, that's when they were like, "Is the offer still there to try your snow bike?" And and then it was really good. Awesome. It was very rewarding, and then for them to love it as well, to share your passion and that, like, it was very rewarding. So I was very stoked.
That's awesome. No, and that's what it's all about, right? I mean, you guys being ambassadors. Not only are you Timbersled ambassadors, but you guys are ambassadors for the sport, And the cool thing is, for all you women that are watching this now and watching this in the future, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, use every advantage you have. And as a woman, there's less women riding snow bikes. So you might be able to get hooked up a little bit with some good stuff, as a woman rider, like if you're getting out there, you got a good social media presence. Don't be afraid to like reach out to these companies and, as you get better and, talk to them about partnerships and sponsorships and things like that. So that's the cool thing, I think, is, because there's a lot less women riders. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's funny. Like when I go you know, and you can see your stats on social media, and it's like men versus women in terms of, you know, who's liking what. And it's like, you know, 18% women that are like on my Instagram. So I'm like, well, I don't know what the percentage of women that ride, but it's probably that or less, you know, 10% of all the riders are women. So for all you other ladies, chime in here. Do you guys have a story where, you know, you've introduced a friend, another gal into snow biking, you know, let them ride your bike, that sort of thing? And what would you guys say is like the best way for these ladies watching? How can they get into, you know, snow biking? Like, what do you guys recommend?
Go somewhere that doesn't take a long road to get out. Like, don't be starting in the parking lot, because that's just not really fun for anybody. So go to a big meadow, and I don't know, just I would say, like, don't be afraid to take somebody up on the opportunity if they offer. And also, like, don't be afraid to fall over.
Yes.
Because really, you're going in the snow. You'll be okay.
It's not if, it's when you fall over, right? I mean, just how it goes. That's awesome.
Oh, wear knee pads. I wear knee pads.
Oh, yes. Knee pads, chest, by the way, chest protectors. I'm a big advocate of chest protectors. So yeah, wear all the gear.
Definitely.
I was just thinking, oh, sorry, Carrie. I was just thinking when we were riding in Golden, and John, the English guy, he must have been
Yeah.
foot tall.
Yeah, he was like 6'6".
He kept dropping the bike all day. Really, height doesn't matter. And just think of it, like, the trail is the worst part. It really is. And that's what I've, like, anyone that's starting out snow biking, like, don't let the trail put you off, because it is actually, like, the most challenging. Well, not the most challenging, but it's the hardest part, you know, like, you're bumping around and so I always,
the only time any of us has ever wanted to be on a sled is on the road or in the park.
100%. 100%.
You got to tell everyone, it's like, look, just grin and bear it. The trail sucks. Even as a veteran rider, like, I don't like riding it. You just know how to ride it. It's all about getting off the trail and into the good snow. Carrie, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I think especially just with this last week and talking to some of the women that went to that event and it was their first exposure. I think every one of those women, what they did right in that process was embrace the unknown. They opened themselves up to a sport that they had never done before. Don't be afraid to reach out, ask questions. Like, we're all online, we're all very approachable. Take the opportunity to reach out, say, hey, I know nothing about snow bikes, but I see you do this. I guarantee you, most women who ride a snow bike, if you slide into the DMs and say, hey, I want to ride a snow bike too, how do I do it? Every one of us is going to give you advice. Maybe we know somebody in the area that you're near that we could help you get connected with, and maybe even throw a leg on one. If you're intimidated by it, find a time to go and be by one and see how unintimidating they actually are. Just be open to the experience and reach out, ask questions, say, hey, Carrie, Shelley, Vic, Tess, Bia, Jessika, how do I do this? Is there a place I go locally? You know, just put it out there. You know, ping us, ask us questions. We're happy to answer them and happy to help get people connected with groups that could help them go riding. And don't get discouraged. If you're riding with a group for the first time and it's not fun somehow, find a different group. Find a more supportive group, find a funner group, because I think a lot of people can be turned off by a single bad experience, and maybe they just didn't have the best coach or the best trainer or the best confidant. If anyone ever stands there and says, pick up your own bike, snow bikes are a 2-person lift. So find a supportive group, reach out, ask questions. Don't be shy. We weren't, you know, we just jumped in. So that's, I think, probably the best advice I could get is don't be shy and reach out and ask questions.
And ladies, would you guys say that? I mean, I can tell you from like my standpoint, you know, seeing a woman rider, you're like, dude, right on. Like, you're supporting them, you know, you want them to get out and ride. Like, I don't really find within the snow bike community, maybe some people, but I never find anybody like not wanting to help and be super supportive. So don't worry about if you know a bunch of guys that ride and you don't know any gals. Like, I promise you, those guys will be like, yeah, we'll help you out. Like, come out and ride. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, she's freaking short. She's not, like Carrie said, everybody helps each other pick up your bikes, right? Whether you're guy, girl, whatever. So don't worry about that. I know the women over and over, they're like, oh my gosh, Kyle, I'm so sorry. Like, you have to pick my bike up. I'm like, it's fine. Like, that's part of it. And I've done it already a million times. So I know how to do it, like, don't worry about it. But of course, everybody feels bad. So yeah, there's plenty of people out there that are ready to help lend a helping hand.
It's a team sport. It's an individual team sport. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Anybody else on, anybody have another story on, taking out a women rider for the first time or getting any of your friends involved? Because I'm sure some of you, well, first of all, out of all you ladies, just by show of hands, how many of you have friends that are women riders? Snowbikers. So, okay. So everybody, all right. So everybody has some friends. I'm curious, with the group that you ride, just as a percentage, how many are men versus women?
So our group's a little unique. We ride with two other couples, both the wives ride. And then
That's
we
cool.
have a third girl who I got into snowbiking last year when Mike broke his hand and his bike was down all winter. And I said, hey, Courtney, let's swing a leg over it. She now has her own snowbike. I did tell her I hated her and threatened to kick her over on the first ride because she did not fall over once. So tall. She's incredibly athletic. I was like, this is stupid. You're supposed to fall.
That's awesome.
So then she finally fell in a tree well and we did a victory lap and then helped her lift her bike. But our group's really unique because it's mostly women with the husbands that tag along, and yeah, they're fun.
That's super cool. With the husbands that tag along. That's great.
Well, we took them just to cleavage. Like, we take the boys to girls' rides and then they go off and do their boy stuff while the girls go ride.
That's great. Yeah, I can't imagine that that's very common where people are going out with a bunch of couples. Does anybody else have other couples that you guys ride with that are on snow bikes, or just curious?
Well, I get to ride with Jessika and Rooster. So
true. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
and
fun.
We ride with Justin Cox and his wife too. That was super fun.
Yep.
Yep. That's true. How about over Shelley? Do you got any other women, like many women riders where you're at?
No. So when I rose my hand for I ride with Snowbike friends, those Snowbike friends were Vic, Jessika, and Carrie.
That's funny.
But a lot of the ladies here, I'm surprised it's not bigger because a lot of my friends that ride are on sleds. So, but when they do try my snow bike, they're like, "Oh, that was pretty fun." I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a good time." So
are they still like hesitant to switch over, like for some reason? Like, what's the deal there?
I think just the majority of the people that you ride with currently are all on sleds, and so they're just hesitant on being the only one in their group that is going to be on a bike.
Okay, I gotcha. That makes sense. Even though they'll be doing circles around everybody.
Yep. And typically, like the riding areas that they go to, there is a longer trail ride in, and so that could be a kind of a deterring factor as well.
Gotcha. Well, as we kind of wrap up here, ladies, can you guys all kind of just leave one parting thought and anything else you want to say, but give these ladies some words of wisdom, or, just what can they do to, if someone wants to get involved with snowbiking, besides some of the stuff that you guys have already said. Obviously find a group, I mean, I would say like join the Timbersled and Anything Snowbikes group on Facebook. That's a great place to start. Obviously, companies like myself, Tess, Shannon Mason, Summit Snowbikes, we'll take out anybody, particularly. Yeah, we love taking out gals, Babes in the Dirt event. That was really fun. But yeah, do you guys have some words of wisdom there? Jessica's muted.
Oh.
Just don't be afraid to try something new. So.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
reach out. Same, like, don't be afraid to reach out, whether it's to like one of us or a dealer, because a lot of the dealers do demos as well, even if it's not our dealer, you know, for your area or whatever it may be.
And
Yeah.
like Vic mentioned earlier, have your first experience be out in some snow or out in the meadow, or even on like a side hill, because the trail ride might give you a bad first impression.
Yes. Very, very true. Don't let the trail ride be your only impression of snowbiking.
I like to warn people
I think one
that
of the things too,
they might hate the sport
ahead,
the
Christina.
first like hour they ride it. It doesn't come naturally to everyone. If you get through that first like embrace the suck period, it'll eventually click, and then you're gonna love it. But you gotta get through that first rough period. Not everybody hops on a snow bike and immediately side hills it.
Very
For sure. I think the other thing too, especially for women, and I've heard this from women, like, oh, I don't know how to do the maintenance, I don't know how to do the conversion, I don't know how to load it myself, don't know how to unload it myself. If you can work on a dirt bike, you can work on one of these. It's all the same principles. There's tons of service manuals, there's tons of technical support. Don't be intimidated by the gear. Surround yourself with good people. There's tons of information out there, and just, I think last stats I had from like marketing and such, women across all power sports were something like 22 to 24% of total participants. That may be a little lower in snow bikes, I'm not sure. But we're all here because we want to see more women in the sport. So let's get up over 25%. Let's hit 30 this year, maybe hit 35. So just, phone a friend, get as many women out there as you can. Don't be intimidated, reach out, ask questions. We're all here for you. Yeah, you can do it. You can do anything you want to do.
That's awesome.
Carrie works on her stuff. I'll just be honest, like, I don't do that. I pack the food. So,
but you pack the best snacks.
Nick take care of it.
Nick, I married a good man that does. I'll just walk out and he's changing the oil, and he Venmo requests me to pay for it, and I'm like, all right. So
nice.
Don't let that hold you back either.
No, not at all. And every group has one of the types. You've got the one that's always prepared with the safety stuff. You've got the one that always has the best snacks. You've got the one that can always pick up the bike or get unstuck. Everything is valuable in any riding group, especially the snacks. And I know Vic always has the best ones. So whatever you contribute to your group, people are happy about, and they'll help you in the areas that maybe you're not as comfortable. So it is one of the most community-based sports I've ever been involved in. And I can say that wholeheartedly. Snowbikers just want more people to snowbike. Like we're completely dorky that way. So it's like just a big family. So yeah, there's a place for everyone in the sport. So everyone come try it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. No, thanks, Carrie. Well, let's do these couple last giveaways and then we'll wrap it up. And if you guys have anything else to say, please jump in. Let's give away let's give away the last Timbersled discount code. And so we'll give this one to let me just look here through this. All right, Jason. What's his last name? Jason Care. All right, Jason. I don't know if you're watching, but you won. Jason Care. And then we had one more set of goggles. And did we give away the free range gloves? I can't remember. We did? Okay, I thought we did. Let's give away the goggles that Christina have. We'll do the goggles and the belt together. We'll just do that. We'll give them away together. And so let's give those to Angela. So Angela Asbury, she wins the goggles and the belt. And then the last thing to give away is the Snowbike Did I miss anything? The Snowbike rental is the last thing I think, right?
The 509 plates.
Oh, the 509 plates. The 509 plates. Cool. Let's give that one away to go. Whoops. Sorry, my thing just refreshed. Oh, okay. Let's do what's the name? Yeah, we gave that away to Monica. All right, cool. I think almost all because some of the people had already registered previously. Krista, did she win? I didn't have her on here. Krista McPherson. Okay. Let's do the 509 for Krista McPherson. And then for the Summit Snowbike rental, right? Here it is. I was actually thinking we'll do the last one for the gal, Krista, win the 509 license plate thing and the Snowbike rental with Tess. I thought that would be a good one for the grand finale there. So, Krista, make sure you hit up Tess. She'll get you squared away. And then, yeah, guys, just to wrap it up here. So real quick, we've got, ladies, anybody else have anything else to say? Getting women involved other than just get out there and get after it. Let's we'll end it here. Brock jumped on, Brock Hoyer. So this is what Tess was talking about. This is the guy who took him out in Hoyerville. So I got to hear about Hoyerville. I haven't heard about this. So I'll add Brock into the stream here. Give me 1 sec, Brock. Let me add you. All right, Brock's here. Right on. So Brock, welcome. How's it going, dude?
It's good. I've been listening to the whole show. I just got off work. I drove for an hour and a half. So I listened in the service truck on the way and finally got home. So I thought I'd try to jump on.
Yeah, dude. Thanks, man. So you know all these ladies, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. So Brock, tell us real quick about what you do within Timbersled, because a lot of people might not know that are watching this for the first time. And how long, Brock, have you been riding snow bikes now?
Yeah, I've been with Timbersled since pretty much the start of Timbersled. I'm 13 years now snowbiking. I started out just like a customer, same thing, bought just same. I heard a bunch of stories just kind of similar where they just got it and loved it. And I just been passionate about it ever since, and then just been kind of growing and went from being a customer to an athlete, and been there ever since. So.
And where are you based out of?
Williams Lake, BC. So like central BC.
Got it. Yeah. So you guys have some epic snow up there.
Yeah, we just got hammered a bunch.
Some of the best in the country. And if you guys want to hear some, there's a really
We lost him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did everyone?
Uh-oh.
Take it away, Brock.
Shelley, that was
come on, Brock. You're running the show.
Those high moments and low moments. That was so funny when you were saying, because sorry, I don't want to jump on right now, but
no, do it.
When you were breast pumping, when we were at the Timbersled shoot last year, I thought that was pretty impressive for dedication for a woman to still come out. Like, I remember I was like, where are you going? She's like, I gotta go do something. I'm like, do what? She's like, I gotta go breast pump. I'm like, no way. She's like, yeah, seriously, I do. I'm like, that's impressive to be dedicated to be away from your kid and then to still, keep up on that stuff. So, it was pretty cool. And I was giggling the whole time because I was like, yeah, I seen that side too.
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
It seems like everyone rode with me. Yeah.
Yeah, just the dedication, right? And that's what the sport needs, and it goes a long way when you're very passionate. That's why we all do this. Is I've been doing this long enough, or just forever. It feels like, because I love it. I love doing this stuff, and I especially love seeing females doing more of it and doing really cool stuff too. Not just riding around. There's a bunch of girls in this group chat that I've rode with personally, and they're I'm trying to not swear. They're badasses in a sense, and it's cool to see that sport that just because guys can do it, females can totally do the same stuff we're doing. So it's really good to see.
Heck yeah. No, and that's what I was going to ask, Brock. I mean, you've been in this sport, longer than just about anybody. You, Regan, a couple other guys that have been riding for a long time. How have you seen the progression of, women getting involved in the sport from when you started to where it's at now?
Yeah, I remember my first time snowbiking 13 years ago, and everyone looked at me like an alien when you're in the mountains. And now they're just a common occurrence. You bump into people all the time. But yeah, definitely back then there was really no female presence because it was so new. And of course, being a female, I train them in moto all the time. So of course, males just always have that like confidence. Whereas when you get females, like I've done lots of female clinics, Tess has been in some of those. And honestly, those are probably my funnest clinics to do, is because the girls pump each other up. Guys are always trying to kind of outdo each other, and the females get to lot, and they all just try to like build each other up, build jumps, just super helpful to each other. And I see it more and more, and I'm seeing more and more women getting into it. Like two of our winners, Dawn Care and Kaylee Care. Kaylee Care is a racer, or snowbike rider, but also a summertime races in the ladies class. So she just got into snowbiking last year, and her dad just got in this year. So, she was in before her dad seen it, loved it. Now he's in it, and you're seeing more and more, just like a lot of the girls said today, is it's surprising that there's not as many women riding snowbikes, because the only downfall is, we've all been there when the trail's a little icier or we got to ride a lot of asphalt. It gets a little more challenging, but when the snow is good, you can dip off. I got a bunch of girls that I'll take with me, and I'll drag them just like I did to Tess in Hoyerville, and they do really good. Carrie, we went into Hoyerville in Utah. I don't even know where that was. Strawberry, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, we were up over Daniel Summit in the drainages by Strawberry. We did some Hoyervilling.
It was gnarly enough that Dave's clutch smoked, and we had to tow him home. So,
and you had to jump over him when he got stuck.
Yeah, and I jumped over him. Yeah, he panicked and well, I wouldn't say panic. That's the odd word. He braked off a log into a creek, and I didn't see him, and I aired right over top of him. Thank goodness he's like 7 feet tall, so good thing he was crouched and I jumped right over him.
Yeah. And then in Logan, we got into some spicy side hill in Logan too.
Yeah. Yeah, remember I drug you guys down that hill that Butters didn't even want to go down? I'm like, it's fine, let's go. And it was good.
It was good. Hoyerville's always a fun place if you go into it with the right attitude.
What is that? Yeah, I saw someone, Nicole, just asked, how did Hoyerville get its name? So first of all, sounds like Hoyerville isn't necessarily the place where you're at, Brock. It's where you're taking people specifically, huh?
No, Hoyerville's a state of mind.
Yeah, usually.
Oh, I got it.
Just like you said, you nailed on a good point, Kyle. Is like you take people in to, their threshold, but I always push everyone past it. So if I know they can ride a certain boundary, I'll push those limits, because I want them to see when they go home to ride with their friends, whether it's a guy or it's a girl, they can see that they're like, oh, I can do that. And that's the big thing, is it's just knowing that you can, and putting those people around. And anyone that's rode with me knows that I'm one of the first people back to help you. I'm the first person to try to help you out of the situation or talk you through it. But on the same note, I've had grown men cry in the backcountry in Hoyerville. So it does happen. It does happen. Great. You get turned around, you get in a real, on those ones we're in a pretty gnarly, very high consequence spots. But I knew, knock on wood, I've never stayed in the backcountry, and nor do I ever want to. So I always err under somewhat caution. And people might not think, I know I have lots of local guys here that won't ride with me because I've dipped them into those spots, but I always get everyone else. So I don't understand why, but
that's the fun of it. I mean, and that's the thing is with snowbiking versus dirt biking, like you can get into some of the gnarliest places, like I tell people, I go, the difference between snowbiking and snowmobiling, on the sled, you'd be like, I don't know if I could drop in there. On the bike, you're like, yeah, it's fine. We'll figure it out.
The problem is I switch. I'm a switch hitter. I ride sled and snowbike. And I catch myself dropping into stuff on my sled, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is getting spicy. This is snowbike country." So it does happen, mindset. But the biggest thing for all you ladies, is just push yourself. Like you guys are already, most of you that I have rode with are doing that. but just like don't. The nice thing with being like, if any guy will always help a girl, right, woman, because end of the day, we truly do enjoy it. Like especially if our significant other is going out. My wife doesn't really care about cold, so she doesn't come with me. But I've tried. I gave it an honest try, and she didn't like it. She got claustrophobic all the snow. But just don't always push yourself, right? You just, you hang yourself out a little bit. When you come home that day, you can reminisce on it and be like, oh yeah, like I can do that. And then the next year, it just gets kind of easier. It's the same for us doing gnarly stuff, drops. You get kind of comfortable with it, and then go a little bit more, go bigger. So it's just push your limits, and yeah, like Carrie said earlier in the conversation, is ride with people. It doesn't always have to be better than you, but definitely will help push you. Like, well, me and Carrie were out, I definitely put her out of her element a numerous amount of times, and there might have been some swearing, but at the end of the day, when we got back to the truck, she was super stoked, grinning from ear to ear. So that's kind of what you want to do is, sometimes take those, safer, more challenging rides, but always just keep pushing yourselves, and you'll find that it just keeps getting easier and easier.
Yeah, ride with people that remind you of what you're capable of, even if you didn't quite remember it on that day.
Yeah, maybe not Hoyerville all the time, but in general, yeah.
It's not, so everybody's gonna have to come up with their own little find their Hoyerville. It sounds like
I have
cool.
a different word for it, but Hoyerville is the PG word for it, so I can't say
I got it.
word.
Yeah.
Hoyerville is like the corporate, what I call it, but the other ones, yeah.
Just go follow Brock Hoyer, and we'll see the hashtag whatever the other name is. But might need to be Hoyerville too. I might have to start that hashtag from now on.
Yeah, I have done it a couple times, and it's funny. Anyone that's rode with me knows it, and then it's like some people have PTSD, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to go there ever again," right? But
yeah. You know what Brock said, and it is so fun. People for their first time, men, women alike. But I think especially taking these ladies out, like I just took this husband and wife the other day, and he was a really good rider. I mean, the dude's been riding motocross his whole life, just full send. She has only been riding like 4 or 5 years, and she's short too. I think she was 5'3", 5'4". I take her out, at first she was really just hesitant. But after the first, I'd say 20, 30 minutes, and we had to ride kind of a crappy trail. We got up there, and, I'm asking her like, well, what do you think? Like, is this easier or harder than you thought? She's like, honestly, this is easier than I thought, and I'm having way more fun than I expected. She's like, I thought I was going to be crashing and falling all over. And like, she just rides like a TTR 230. It's not like she's out shredding like, 300 single track, 300 two-stroke single track. And so to see her just like being out of her element, but then like, wow, this is really fun. I really like this. Like, that's what it's all about. Right. And so to your point, Brock, like taking people just a little bit outside of their element once they're feeling comfortable, like, because then they realize like, oh, I can do it. I can do these hard things.
Yeah. And honestly, and a lot of that comes from, a lot of you guys have significant others. A lot of that confidence comes from them too. Them, kind of being your backbone and being like, you got this. And that reassurance is sometimes the most biggest thing. Cause you don't want to, of course I've rode with tons of, I filmed and with sled ladies at sled and all that. And I've had those situations where we're out filming and the husband's literally like kind of losing it on his soon to be wife. And I was like, listen, I was producing the catalog shoot for FXR. And I was like, listen, I need her to do it again. Just listen to me. Don't listen to him. And she got the cover shot, and it was amazing. And it just took sometimes and I get it. I get short tempered too sometimes. And the biggest thing is patience and just being able to process it. And the guys in your life, the girls in your life, whoever you ride with, that having that repertoire of being positive and pushing will give you ladies all the tools you need to be successful and get better for sure.
Heck yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, that's a good spot to end it, I think. And Brock, thanks again for jumping on. So guys, for everybody listening, go follow these ladies, Shelley Balls, Jessika, Jenson, Victoria Pooch, Brock Hoyer, Carrie Barton, Christina, Bo James, and Tess Mason. Look them all up. Follow them on Instagram. Ladies, is there anything that you want to say before we sign off?
Thanks for watching.
Go snow check's open, so you can snow check your new Timbersled.
Oh, look at you with the apron.
Yeah.
Just on it.
Heck yeah. Jessika, I saw you had something.
I was just gonna say, girls, go get it.
Girl power.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Heck yeah.
Come
We
to
don't
Utah.
got
I've got a
balls,
buddy
but we
bike.
got peanut butter balls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow.
Actually, I heard Jessica
Love
talking
it.
about those peanut butter balls.
Wow,
and they're
Vic.
freaking good.
They are pretty big.
So, they are really good.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
my
have
Vic.
balls, but we have peanut butter balls. That's great.
We got all the snacks.
That's great. Tess, did you have something else you were saying too?
Well, thanks for your support, mate, in doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the girls jumping on. It was a lot of fun. And like Shelley said, Snow Check is open. But no, it was really good. It was a lot of fun. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just
Thanks,
full
ladies.
fang
And
Full fang it,
just
girls.
full fang it. That's right. Full fang it.
Tess.
That's the Aussie way.
Tess, make sure you drink lots of water and sleep. We got like 3 days of Hoyerville, so be prepared.
Yeah, I know. She'll be right. We'll be good.
I'm coming.
Yeah, awesome. Christina, Carrie, you guys have anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think even if you can't get out on a snow bike this year, do something different. Try something new. Do something that scares you. Push yourself outside your comfort zone, even if that can't be on a snow bike just yet. And hopefully you get on one at some point, because they're a really good time, and they honestly can be life changing.
Agreed there. Life changing. Snow biking is life changing. I would have to agree.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks for hosting, and thanks for joining. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate everybody's support and everybody who watched. Again, make sure you check these ladies out. Congrats to the winners. And until next time, get out there, shred, have fun, be safe, and go snow biking. All right.